The Committee of the Whole meeting for June 2nd, 2026 is hereby called to order at 5:03 p.m. I'll ask clerk to please call the roll.
Alderman Barrero.
Here.
Alderwoman Garza.
Here.
Alderman Masiacos.
Present.
Alderman Nunez.
Here.
Alderman Franco.
Here.
Alderman Seville.
Here.
Alderman Benuelos.
Here.
Alderwoman Smith.
Here.
Alderman Bug.
Here.
Alderwoman Bade.
Here.
Alderman Larson.
Here.
Alderman White. And Mayor Lash is present.
Next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes 260338. Approval of the minutes of Tuesday, May 19,
Second.
2026 Committee of the Whole meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of Tuesday, May 19, 2026 COW meeting as presented? A motion was made by Alderwoman Smith, second by Alderwoman Garza. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries by voice vote. John, take it away for the mayor's report.
Thank you so much, Mayor. We have two significant community recognitions we're going to get to here tonight. We will begin really with an incredible honor for one of Aurora's own. She was selected to represent the entire state of Illinois at the 2026 Student Congress through the Henry Clay Center in D.C., serving as just one of 51 college students nationwide to spend some time engaging with lawmakers, academics, government relations experts, policy advisors, and other leaders to explore the challenges of formulating comprehensive public policy. She's an ambitious Aurora University student majoring in not one, two, but three majors: political science, public policy, and business. And her mother, Anna, runs the successful MTZ Income Tax Services business right here in Aurora. Put your hands together for Aurora's own national standout, Giselle Martinez. We'll invite up Giselle and her family along with the mayor for a special Mayor's Award of Excellence to commemorate her amazing selection as part of the U.S. Congress of Students.
Come on up. Okay, well, this is outstanding and exciting. So to Giselle Martinez for being selected to represent the state of Illinois at the 2026 College Student Congress presented by the Henry Clay Center, joining just 50 other students nationwide to cultivate essential skills that prepare future leaders in public policy, politics, and diplomacy. Your hard work, dedication, and success make Aurora proud. Thank you so much.
Here we go. Perfect. Ready? 1, 2, and 3.
Words tell us a little bit about your experience. And you need to adjust that.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Giselle Martinez, and I was honored and very pleased to be selected to represent Illinois, Aurora, my old high school, my whole community in general. It was a very intense program, I'm not going to lie. It was a lot of work, a real eye-opener, real experiences. I am very fortunate. I feel very grateful to have been selected. I just want to say a couple words to my mom. I'm so grateful for my mom. I think my mom is my biggest inspiration when it comes to going after what I want, if that's just within life or just academic overall as well. But I just want to say I'm very grateful for the Aurora community as well. I think being able to stand up here with the mayor and all the aldermen is just such a great honor. So again, I'm so grateful to be in the position that I am. Thank you.
One more round of applause, Giselle Martinez, proudly representing the city of Aurora. Thank you again to Giselle and her family for coming on out here today. We have a second recognition here
Congratulations, Mom.
Thank you.
Second recognition here tonight, and it goes out to a well-known voice in our community. Now, you might not hear him often, but you certainly read his reporting each and every day. And as of this Friday, Aurora's beat reporter Christian Smith will conclude his excellent tenure with the Aurora Beacon News. He and his wife are moving back home to South Carolina for an amazing opportunity, and we wish him well in that, but at the same time, he will be greatly missed here in Aurora. He filled some big shoes with the retirement of Steve Lord, and in his time covering this city, he's certainly been fair, respectful, and honest in all of his reporting. Please join us in honoring Christian Smith with a special Mayor's Award of Excellence for his efforts in telling the story of the community.
He begged us. He begged us not to do this. But I think everybody wants to know where you're going and what you're doing. I think it's exciting. It's sad, but exciting. So I'll just read it quickly and let you tell everybody what's going on, and maybe somebody else will write a story about it. But to Christian Smith, for your hard work and dedication to the City of Aurora by accurately and fairly telling the story of our community as part of the Aurora Beacon News, your excellent reporting will greatly be missed. I really was hoping that you would stick around, move to Aurora, and become part of our community, but grateful that we got to spend some time to you, and want to wish you the best of luck. Thanks so much. Yeah. And do you want to do the photo? And he doesn't want it, but we'll do it.
He has no choice. Ready, 1, 2, and 3.
Hey, just tell us briefly so the rest of the council knows where you're going and the community.
Yeah, sorry, I don't usually do anything like this. Yeah, so I'm moving back to South Carolina where I'm from. My wife got a job there, and I usually follow her where she goes because she makes more money than I do. That's the way it works. Yeah, don't want to get into that right now. Anyway, just want to thank everybody who I've talked to. My time here at the Beacon News has been a great experience, and I really am going to miss you all, and it's been a fun time, so thanks so much.
Great reporter here in Aurora, Christian. You will be greatly missed. One last community announcement. This one's pretty exciting. River Edge Park is going to have its ribbon cutting on Thursday, June 18th at 6 p.m. Mark your calendars. Everybody in the community is going to be invited to check out the newly expanded River Edge Park. It's really going to be an exciting time. Everybody will be there, so we encourage you all to come out. You will see more in our city's newsletter and on social media as we get closer to the date. But mark your calendars for Thursday, June 18th at 6 p.m. for the River Edge Park ribbon cutting. At this time, that will conclude my portion of the report. We're going to have a report coming up next from the city's tree board, and then an update on the special census. Thank you.
Oh, great, great.
So just real quick for the council on the ribbon cutting, we're going to do it at the backstage area so people can see it. We had initially planned to do it on June 20th, but there will be performers in the backstage area, so we won't be touring it. As well, I'm told that they are working to get the jumbotrons up, but they won't be working as they're installing them really literally at the last minute. But we'll have an opportunity to tour and see the park and see the backstage area and everything else for those who attend. If you're not able to attend, you can probably reach out to Public Works and get some sort of, or ACA and get a tour on your own. Okay, tree board, ready?
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. Thanks.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Nick Day. I am a certified arborist as well as the West Side representative for the tree board. And Bill?
Good afternoon. My name is Bill Shinetti. I'm the East Side representative for the tree board. I happen to be a proud resident of Ward 8 since September of 1990, when Eola Road was literally a country road and went through the town of Eola. And my wife and I could look out our back door and see the Sears Willis Tower in the horizon. My colleague here, Nick, has been gracious enough to prepare the slide, and he will make the presentation.
Thanks, Bill. All right, Bill and I can talk about trees for a long time, but we know we have like 7 minutes, so I'll try to keep it concise. But if I need to get pulled, just let me know. I want to start off first by really explaining why trees matter and why we need to be concentrating and expanding our canopy throughout Aurora. I want to start off with some financial benefits because those seem to ring to a lot of cities. Number one, stormwater runoff. Trees absorb hundreds of thousands of gallons of stormwater runoff every year. That reduces infrastructure strain tremendously. And I also wanted to preface everything that I'm showing here, although is simple on the slide, these have all been backed by scientific evidence and research. Happy to share any of that in the future. Second is it lowers, trees lower residential and commercial energy costs. That's both by adding shade in the summertime, but as well as wind protection in the wintertime. Of course, increasing property values, that's been proven. Neighborhoods with increased canopy have increased property value, as well as neighborhood appeal, shortening even that selling window time in areas with larger canopies. This one's one you probably wouldn't expect, but there's a lot of research on expanding asphalt and road life when there's shaded neighborhoods because it protects the UV wear from asphalt, which is a very expensive expense for cities. So just a couple of the benefits. Moving over to health and quality, of course, it helps filter pollutants, helps improve air quality. Also, the shade reduces urban heating, which if you guys haven't heard that buzzword, that's a huge issue, especially in very urban, dense populations. Encouraging walking outdoor activities. I actually think Aurora doesn't get enough credit for its walkability and its ability, not just downtown, but throughout with all of its parks. And then last is supporting mental health and overall well-being. All right, so I felt it was really important to lay that groundwork, but for what the city tree board does itself, we're really just an advisory board for the city council and the staff. We bring not only Bill and I's expertise in the field as certified arborists, but city staff as well, weighing in on tree board decisions. What we really do is focus on the stewardship of the city's urban forest, and we really try to reinforce that trees are a long-term sustainable public asset. And I think that's the important thing to remember is that trees are a public asset. And when we also provide resources for residents, which I'm going to get into here briefly. And what I just did for a screenshot here, shout out to the Aurora Beacon News, just an Aurora Tree Day, Arbor Day celebration. The tree board's involved in coordinating those efforts. The city has a tree board specification manual. I'm not going to get into the details to bore you, but the reason I wanted to highlight the reason things like these are important. Number one, it defines a standard for the city for planting, pruning, and tree removals. The tree board updates this every couple years to align with industry best practices. We pull information from the International Society of Arboriculture, the Tree Care Industry Association, ensuring that we have the best practices for the city of Aurora. It provides consistency for staff and our contractors doing any tree work in the city. And by following best practices, we're reducing liability and long-term maintenance costs by following those by following those best practices, which also aids in the long-term sustainability of our canopy. Yeah, I'm going to let Bill actually speak on this.
Briefly about the approved species list. This is a living document that the tree board over the last 20 years is constantly reviewing feedback from the City of Aurora's streets team, best practices, the Morton Arboretum. We have been changing and updating that almost every 2 years. For example, when emerald ash borer was first found in the Detroit suburbs and started spreading into the Midwest, we were one of the first cities to remove ash trees from the approved list. Additionally, over 10 years ago, we removed Norway maples. They have a problem with girdling roots. And about the same time, we were hearing feedback from the streets department, specifically with Calorie pear, Bradford pear splitting, and which now is on the invasive species list, Illinois Department of Natural Resources. So great news is we've been able to replace it with a wider palette of native and near native tree species that we can continue to refine over the years. And it's an important document that we take very seriously and share with everybody, including staff as well as our residents on the website.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
Then we, oftentimes the city plants trees right outside of residents' houses. And the first couple of years of a tree's life, just like humans, is crucial for long-term sustainability of that tree. So what we've done, the tree board worked with the city to add and update consistently a tree planting website with guidelines for watering and tree care. We also developed a door hanger for residents. We just developed that about 2 years ago, so that when a tree is planted, a door card is left informing them on proper watering instructions and as well as any care and issues that they may encounter with the tree. We thought that was a really good aspect of it because it kind of encourages a partnership between the city and the homeowners. Even though those trees are planted in the right-of-way, it can be their responsibility to ensure the longevity of that tree because it adds to the community as a whole. Addressing residential concerns, I mentioned before, the tree board meets every third Monday of each month. Residents are welcome to come and attend. Doesn't happen as often as we like, but every once in a while we do get a resident that comes in and asks questions or wants to know more about what the city does with trees. So we're always there as a contact for residents. And last thing I just wanted to mention, I know I'm running over time, is a recent preservation. Aurora actually has an Illinois champion tree. It's an American elm on the west side of the city. It's well over 100 years old. I didn't core it, of course, but I think it's actually over 150 years old. It has a lightning arrestor, lightning cabling going through it. It's over a 100-foot span. It's a beautiful, gorgeous tree. It hasn't been treated for Dutch elm disease in a couple years, so working with the city, we've been able to find funding to get this tree treated for Dutch elm disease, which not only keeps a legacy tree in our area, but also avoids more than $10,000 of removal costs if you had this tree died and you had to remove it. So just a little win that, at least as a West Side resident, was happy to share. So that's what, and last shout out just for the city. The city has been a Tree City USA for 28 years strong, which is an Arbor Day Foundation recognition, and just credit to the city for keeping that sustaining. So anything you want to add, Bill?
Oh, that's great.
All right,
That's
we
it.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you, Nick and Bill. Any questions from the council? Alderman Seville?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. My question is, there's currently, I've noticed over the years, if you want to call it a fad, of people mulching around their trees, and they don't mulch flat around a tree. They make these, what I would call, these mulch volcanoes, and I know that they're not good for the tree. Is that correct?
Do you want me to say?
Well, that's exactly what it's called, volcano mulching.
Yep.
Exactly what it's called, volcano mulching, and it is detrimental for the tree, especially
Yes.
young ones.
Yeah, and my question is, are you able to do anything, and what are you doing to get the word out? Because I tell people, of course, I'm not telling everybody because I don't meet everybody, but people I come across, I notice I kind of subtly tell them that without telling them what to do, of course.
Sure.
So are you doing anything to help get the word out and educate people about they're actually killing their trees?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And you might see me randomly walking around, pulling that mulch around trees. I do that, full honesty.
If you want to come to the Sixth Ward, and you're welcome to do that.
We have recognized that. And in fact, a couple years ago, Bill and I noticed that on city trees and public or private trees. And that's actually why we updated those planting specifications. That does talk about avoiding volcano mulching and the proper way to mulch. We even have pictures on the website of the proper way to mulch. And I believe our door hanger also talks about making sure that you don't have mulch right against the stem. So yeah, it does, right? Yeah. So that's kind of what we've been trying to do. Any freshly planted tree, we're trying to get that information out there to avoid volcano mulching.
And are you putting any of this on the city website that could help people that come to and visit our?
Yeah, actually it is on the city website. I don't know if I can go back here. Yeah, it does. This is just a screenshot, but that's on the city website with planting guidelines. And if
Okay,
you scroll
great.
down, it talks about
Yeah,
mulching.
I
as
appreciate
well.
it, thanks. So, yeah, I know it's an educated process, but
It is.
we have a lot of homes.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you.
Alderwoman Smith?
Just to follow up on that, is that only when the tree is young, or is that through the tree's life, the volcano?
It's a practice that should last the lifetime of the tree,
Okay,
but it's especially vulnerable when they're young.
okay.
It can induce moisture and actually can create like rot or disease to actually infiltrate. So you want fresh air through there.
All right, thank you.
Can it create tree girdling as well? Is that one of the causes, do you think?
I don't think there's any
That's
tie to that.
No, okay, just curious.
Okay. Alderman Barrero, and then we'll move to the census.
Just a quick question. Have you guys removed the crabapple tree from the list? Has that been removed?
On the disapproved species list, I believe.
Or I mean, is it still something we're planting or not?
I believe, I don't have the list memorized, but I do believe we still have some crab apples, but we've looked at improved cultivars.
It's just a messy tree. It's just,
It can be, correct.
yeah.
Tracy, do you have something to add?
I think there's about three different cultivars of crab apples on the list.
Wow, you better memory than us, I guess. Yeah.
I just was looking at it yesterday, I think, so.
Okay. All right, great. Well, thank you again, Nick and Bill, for coming and sharing presentation with us and
Thank you
better
for this
educating the
opportunity.
public. Thank you. And the city is, I believe, removing our pear trees, the invasive species that
Calorie pear.
Yep.
Yep.
Calorie pear, is that what it's called? Okay. All right. Next, we'll go to the census update rollout here.
see it, John. Oh, it's over here. Never mind. Got it. Good evening, Council. Shannon Cameron, Chief of Staff. Wanted to give you and the public an update about our special census efforts and how everything's going. We have, and again, this is for everybody. It really takes the whole community for a successful census, even a special census, as we're working on here. So I'm reminding you all, which I know you know well, but also reminding the community why it's important, why everyone needs to be counted. Obviously, in 2020, we felt like we were undercounted as a municipality by at least 17,000. We lost 17,000 residents, according to that count, due to things like our water billing records. We believe that that's just not the case. And I know you all, for the most part, I think, agree on this. You can tell that Aurora's growing. People want to come to Aurora and live here. Obviously, that's caused an annual revenue loss of about $4.3 million, which is over a 10-year census period, roughly $43 million. For the public, it is really important that everyone is counted so we can secure the very needed resources for city services and infrastructure. This also impacts things certainly about public safety, how we make decisions on things like economic development, infrastructure, sewer systems, et cetera. But it also affects all of our community services throughout the city and agencies who depend on population when they're writing grants and things like that. So this doesn't just impact the city of Aurora, but as the government, but of course all of the nonprofits doing really good work in our community. So we made the decision, if you remember, to focus on new construction and residential growth between 2020 and 2026. To focus on this, we had come to the council last year to say, to look at redoing our map. So I'm going to share that with you. You all should have this in your email as well. I'm also happy to print out for you just the singular map where it's overlooking the ward. You'll see it in the presentation, so you have that, because it might be useful as you're looking at your own wards. Can you help me move along, John? Sorry, the clicker stopped working.
Next slide.
As he's working on that, I'll just keep talking. He might have to reboot. So, as I said, the special census is something in between the regular census, between the 10-year mark, and this is to try to capture at least some that we feel like have not been
John,
counted.
can you go back? Oh no, you were at the right place.
Yeah,
Sorry.
you're all good, John. Thank you. Let me see if I can control it now. I think I can. So this is new construction mainly, but because the census needs to be contiguous, which kind of means is a fancy word for saying touching, we will have new construction and existing housing be part of this. But it's really the main focus is that. And I want to thank Tim Shields, who is works in our GIS department, for spending a lot of really careful time coming up with the map. The whole census group is quite it's a city effort. It's a group effort. It involves a lot of people in the mayor's office, but in community engagement, headed up by Ileana Nunez. We have 3 seasonal workers that are helping to get the word out as well, and other community engagement and HR, certainly IT. It's a multi-department effort. So this is the special census map. You'll see that this is overlaid with ward. Like I said, I'll get you a special printed version of this so you have them. I'll get a bunch just so you have them in the alderman's office. You can see everything has to be touching. That's the contiguous nature of it that I mentioned earlier. So you will have, we focused on new construction, but existing construction will touch some of this as And we've been talking so much about new construction. I think it's important as we talk to the public that just because you don't have a brand new house doesn't mean you might not be counted in this. So if you get things in the mail, you need to be counted. Oh, there we go. So some of the new construction focus these are the areas in which we really focused. West Side, we see the Todd and Lincoln schools that were redone, 1449 Senior Estates over on Jericho, Redwood of Aurora, et cetera. Knowing that this whole census program is going to take us at least through November of this year, but probably through the end of this year, we could have some people moving in at different spots, and we may not as well, but we just included it because we weren't sure, and we'd rather have people counted than not counted. Downtown, these are the areas of development that have opened. Several are already living in these, although DAC development, obviously, we don't have occupancy yet. They're still in construction for that. On the east side, here are the many new construction areas on the east side as well. There's quite a lot here, which shows Aurora is growing, and so those are some of those. And then obviously, there's just not necessarily whole developments in the contiguous areas from new development to current housing, but these are some of those developments that currently exist that will be part of it. This is the timeline for the special census office. Excuse me. We've already started. We've already hit the ground running, getting the word out, and I hope you have too. I hope you're taking those flyers that you have. I hope you're in the neighborhood meetings, letting people know everyone must be counted. It is really important for the success of our city, for the success of other people in our city, that everyone be counted. We are we are hiring currently through hiring fairs. The city has held two. We have a third one coming up this Saturday. I'll speak on those in a little minute, and we have 3 more as well scheduled. The federal census workers are going to move into the local office here at the City of Aurora on July 24th. So we need to be fully hired up by then as much as possible. The internet self-response mailings will go out to everyone that is part of the census tracts at the end of July. People will receive 4 separate mailings, 2 letters, 2 postcards. Thank you. I did bring it this time. Thank you very much, Rich. 4 separate mailings. And each of those mailings is a code. That code is unique to that household. That code is very important. They should make sure that they keep that safe. We want to push to everyone in the public, if they receive that in the mail, to log on and be counted right away. But make sure you have that code to do it. Don't just throw it away. You have to have that code to be counted. So please help inform people to do that. The internet self-response ends on August 24th, so we have a fairly small window that we need to push people to respond online during that time. And then there's several things that happen in which calls happen to remind people. We're going to have people out in the field saying, hey, have you received this in the mail? Please go online and be counted. But once that internet self-response ends, we can't be in the field anymore, and only federal census workers can be. And then that's when they're going to start knocking on people's doors that have not filled it out online, which is a costly, as you can imagine, procedure. The more we have people fill it out online, the more we can get reimbursed later from the federal government from not having to spend that money, which we've already given to the federal government. We want people to respond online. We'd rather not have to have people go to the door. So please tell people to spend that. Then we have the enumeration, right? We have the re-interview if needed. We close operations, hopefully. But really, we're going to try to make the count. It's going to take as long as it needs to take, but we're hoping that will end at the end of November. Okay, so as far as the hiring process, we want the public to know that we're hiring currently. They don't have to go to one of our hiring fairs. They can go to usajobs.gov right now as they hear this and fill out an application for one of those 3 types of roles that are available. It's the clerk, field supervisor, and field representative. The highest need are the people that knock the doors or in the field doing that hard work. But we need all 3. You'll see that in this next slide, how many, we need about 30 people, but we can't just recruit 30 people and stop because of course everybody has schedule conflicts, needs come up, they might be hired, they might decide, oh, I got another job. So we need to recruit several times that in order to make sure we have solid candidates. So that's what we're doing right now. So we need 1 special census supervisor, 4 field supervisors, and the special census supervisor's already been assigned through the federal office. It's somebody that was working another special census. The 4 field supervisors, 3 clerical positions, and 22 field reps. So that's what we really need. It takes all of us, as I said before, to drive residents to the U.S. Census Bureau Community Jobs website and that link to USA Jobs, or to, if you feel like people might need some extra help with the application, to one of our job fairs. This, our next one, as I said, is this Saturday. I will be there helping and assisting people along with our census workers and our community services and IT department. It is from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Public Works Building, and then we have 3 more at Santori Library on June 15th, June 25th, and July 1st from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on all of those days. Again, you don't have to show up. You can just go to usajobs.gov and apply there. I will say it is a bit of a lengthy process. It can take 30 to 40 minutes to apply for 1 job. So people need to have their digital resume in their email ready to apply. And if they're coming or if they're uploading it online. I will say we had about 100 people so far show up at our job fairs to sign up, and we only need 30 solid candidates, but we still have to probably recruit another 150 total to make sure we've got a really nice pool of applicants. So I just, again, want to thank those people that are working hard on that, including our marketing and communications team that is getting the word out there. Last year, when they were working on this in the special census, they were only getting like 4 or 5 people showing up to the job fair. And our first one, we had 80 people show up, and that's because of the good work they're doing. So, importance of participation. Again, I want the people in the city of Aurora to be really sick of hearing about the census, and that's all of our jobs. Just making sure people know how important participation is. We've already talked about this, but I think the important part of this is every person counted. When we talked about this a year ago, finance had said it's roughly $250 per person per year in funding. So we want to ensure accurate counting. We want to ensure it's right. We want to ensure it's the best we can do. And that, again, takes all of us. We want to be able to make choices based on real numbers and not a number that we think is undercounted. So we can make plans for the future that are accurate. As I said, there's 4 census mailings, that online access code. I do want to really recommend that the public make sure they keep those documents safe that they get in the mail, and they don't just throw them away, or once they know they've filled that out accurately, they can shred it and be gone, but that's, again, unique to their household. The online application is easy, and it's much easier than having to talk to somebody at the door, so I really recommend that. These are what the first mailings look like. I thought that would be important for the public to notice when it comes in the mail. These are what the letters 1 and 2 look like. And I put a big arrow there. That's where the unique code for that household will be. That code will be the same for each of the 4 mailings. We do it 4 times because everybody gets junk mail. Something might get stuck. Something might come late. people recycle something without really looking at it. We want to make sure people have as many chances as possible. Sample mailing 3 and 4 are postcards. This is what is written on those postcards. Again, it has the link to go ahead and fill out online. If any of your constituents have questions, you can tell them that's where to go. The benefits of online I've talked about a bit. You don't have to have the in-person follow-up. You don't have people knocking on your doors. It's easy. Once you're done, it's over, and it's efficient, and it saves us money. During the field operations, the enumeration portion of that, if anyone has not responded online to the self-response, then we have people going out. Now, there's a couple places, like, for example, nursing homes, other things like that, that will not have the internet response. So that will require somebody going to those places to get those accurately reflected. So not everybody may receive that. For example, like nursing home facilities, other congregate living sort of situations, may not get that in the mail. So I just wanted to make sure you knew that. There may be people that call, even though you have filled out it online, it might just be kind of caught in the system. So you can just say, yes, I have. If you go back in and go to the same website, enter in the same code, it'll tell you that you have effectively filled out the form. So we don't want to concern anyone. You can always double check that. This is something that's really important to our public. Is this safe? Is my information safe? And there are many federal legal protections on this data. Every census worker has to take, has to swear that they will keep this confidential. We have to, as the city where the office will be located, make sure we provide things to create confidential areas for them to work within. There is no citizenship question on the special census, and it is for statistical use only. It is for statistical use only. This is a safe thing for our public to do. And there will be lots of questions about this year. And I think that is really important. As we've talked to other municipalities that are in Illinois that have gone through the special census, the hardest thing is to get people to open their door and the comfort with the federal government giving their information over. So the best thing we can do to have people not knock on their door is get them to fill it out online, but we have to be good stewards to say this is safe. They have legal privacy obligations, I've said, and again, remind them it's important that they fill it out online. Any questions? That's kind of a rundown of where we are.
Questions from the council? Alderman Franco.
So I know that we're not going to get our money back for the years that have gone by. But optimistically, if everything goes as we would like to go, and I know we got like 4 years left of collecting before the next census, what are we looking at financially to capture back?
So we hope to capture back more than what we had told you last time, which was $1,500 additional, which is $375,000 a year, which is anywhere from it could be $2 to $3 million if with that. But we hope for much more. We hope it's much more successful. But that was the number that finance had given us originally. But I'm hoping that we can get people to do this online, that we're going to have the outreach effort to make it happen. And it takes all of us, like I've said.
The Census, I'm going to add to that, the Census Bureau says not to make projections or estimates or promises, simply because we don't even know if some of these houses will be occupied.
But I mean, we're going to have some math involved. We're going to say, okay, we could. Like
we have that map.
So,
yep.
The math. So you
yep.
said if we can get this many, we're going to get that amount. So that's fine. We need a projection, I guess. So then what was it costing us to do this? I'm just trying to figure out if we make 2 million minus $500,000.
It was about $580,000.
600,000.
Okay, a little, yeah, around $600,000. We had given the federal government $1 million originally when we looked at the special census, but then when they evaluated this map, it was that. So we hope to be able to earn that back for sure and more. This also will be very educational for us as a city as we head into the Bicentennial in 2030. We'll have those relationships that we've made. Right now, our census team is calling all of the property managers, the HOAs, setting up meetings to talk, to let people know, to get flyers in their mailboxes or their online HOA newsletters, whatever it might be, so they know this is coming.
Thank you.
And just so the other aldermen who are new to the council know, we appropriated $1 million before. They spent close to 100,000 in preparation for the full
2025.
In 2025 for the full recount, just hiring staff, getting ready, and then it was shut down by the federal government. So,
correct.
Of the 600,000 that I signed a letter to spend, and then 900,000 that was roughly there that the Census Bureau. We hope to get 300,000 ish back. Alderwoman Smith.
Yes, thank you, Shannon, for this update. It's great. So you gave us a lot of information. Is there any way to break this down into marketing pieces for us to use? Like I have 7 of HOAs that I communicate with online.
Absolutely.
That I could put it out to them, and then, if you're seeing this, this is why, the type thing. So that would be really helpful to be able to, I could disseminate that out to my HOAs, my neighborhoods that I have, and obviously everyone do the same thing. It would be one way, a costless way for us to start working on this.
Yeah, absolutely, and thank you for that. In sort of the second half of June, we're really going to be asking for your partnership in that, to get that information out. So people, when they see that in their mailboxes in July, they'll know what they're talking about. But we'll make sure that you guys have physical and digital copies of that. The communications team has already worked on that. We also have a My Voice page that already has all the information. So if you just wanted to link to it for people about the hiring and things like that, right now, we're really pushing the hiring. So we have a great team. That has been also a difficulty of other neighboring municipalities. They can't get people hired to do it. So that's our big focus right now, but we will switch to the community to be counted.
And then when we do that, it's going to be important that that somebody's looking at it and it's not so overwhelming. They're like, yeah, I have no interest in reading the rest of this. It needs to be, did you receive this in the mail? This is why. A picture of that first mailer type thing.
Yep.
Something that, it can be a snap thing. People look through social media and they snap their way through, so we want to be able to capture them quickly.
Yeah, we want it clear and concise and easy to understand, and we'll also put it in other languages.
Thank you.
And I think so right now we're in the phase of hiring.
Correct.
So that's the flyer that we're pushing. And, Rich can get an updated copy with some of the events on the back. But after we move through the hiring phase, then we move to the education phase, which I think is what the Alderwoman's
Are we
after.
mansplaining again? It's a lot of
No,
it.
I'm just explaining where we're at right now.
She explained that quite
So
well.
I will make sure you don't have to ask for it, that Rich will have it, and it will be accessible and printed in digital version for you.
Anyone else? Alderman Bug?
Thank you. Shannon, back several slides ago, it was about hiring people, and it said something about hiring by zip code, and then you moved away from it. I wanted to see that.
Oh, so this is what the regional census office talks about in hiring. Let me get back to it. I know what you're talking about. They hire, basically what they're trying to do is if you are they want people that represent our community to be in our community. There's a lot more success in people opening doors when they know Aurora, they can talk about Aurora, they feel like they are Aurorans. So applicants are available selection based on zip code. So we're trying to also make sure people don't have to commute large distances. There are people that have applied for our jobs that are from other parts of the country. And obviously that's not going to work. So they want to make sure it's part of an Auroran zip code or a neighboring area. We do have some in other counties that we also are part of that have special censuses happening. So they may capture some of those people as well. They may not live in Aurora, but we want to try to get it as Aurora as possible. That we've been told by the regional census office and the federal census office that bodes the best for success.
Will they rank zip codes over one another?
I'm not sure. I can ask that question and get back to you on that. Exactly how they rank it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions from the council? Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you.
Next, we'll move to public comment. Madam Clerk, do we have any members of the public wishing to offer public comment?
We do, Mr. Mayor.
Will you please read the rules of public comment?
Pursuant to the Open Meetings Act, all persons shall be permitted an opportunity to address public officials under the rules established and recorded by the council. Under our rules, any person may address the committee of the whole for up to 3 minutes with a maximum of 30 minutes allotted for all public comment. No person, other than the timekeeper or the chair for the purpose of maintaining order, may interrupt a person recognized for public comment during his or her comments. Members of the committee of the whole shall not engage with nor respond to a speaker during the time set aside for public comment. Staff is directed to follow up with members of the public with respect to any concerns raised during public comment within the scope of the city's authority following the adjournment of this meeting.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Will you please read the name of the first person wishing to offer public comment?
We only have one speaker tonight, and that is Ronil Cooper.
Welcome, Mr. Cooper.
Hey,
You
good
have 3
evening,
minutes
Mayor
beginning
and
now.
City Council meetings and residents of Aurora. My name is Ronell, and I'm here because I believe our city have a serious problem with priorities. Every week, the Aurora Police Department posts another missing teenager on Facebook. Every week, another child is missing, another family is terrified, another parent is wondering if their son or daughter is safe. Every time I see these posts, I ask myself the same question. If our children are missing, who is hunting the people hunting our children? Because at the same time, these missing posts are going up. Because at the same time, these missing child posts are going up while we're hearing about liquor store stings, smoke shop stings, and compliance check, and enforcement operation that seems to have an endless resources behind them. But where are the predator stings? Where are the headlines announcing major operations targeting adults who prey on children? Who are the public updates? Where are the public updates telling parents what Aurora is doing to protect our youth from exploitation, trafficking, and online predators? Because every day we turn on the news and see another story involving child sex crimes. Every day, predators don't take days off. Predators don't clock out. Predators don't stop hunting our children. So why does it feel like they not being treated as the public enemy number one? Let's talk about what residents see every day. We see SWAT cars sitting in parking lots for an extended period of time. We see officers waiting to catch minor traffic violations. We see resources dedicated to a low-level enforcement. Meanwhile, parents are asking who are protecting the children. Aurora has a specialized unit and proactive enforcement team. Many residents, especially in the Black and brown communities, feel those resources are heavily concentrated on traffic stop and low-level enforcement in their neighborhood. So I have another question. What if we directed that same energy towards predators? What if those same proactive policing used to find minor traffic violations was used to identify adults targeting minors? What if the same manpower was used to watch drivers who was used? What if the same manpower used to watch drivers was used to watch child predators? A predator is more dangerous than a broken taillight. A child trafficker is more dangerous than a tinted window. A person hunting children is a greater threat than someone making. Wait, a person hunting children is a greater threat than someone making a rolling stop. The people of Aurora deserve to know where all the priorities are, because when I see missing teen posts every week, I don't see statistics. I see a city that's sending out a SOS, and the response cannot be more business as usual. If
Thank you,
you can
Mr. Coop.
find
Your 3 minutes is up.
Okay.
Thank you for sharing your opinion, Mr. Coop. Okay, this concludes, now it's got a dinger. This concludes the public comment section. Next, we'll move to the committee reports. I'll ask Chairman Alderman Seville to give the BZ and E committee report.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. The BZ committee met May 27th, 2026, and reviewed the following items. The first two are related: 25-1041, an ordinance establishing conditional use plan development and improving the Tortilleria El Rey development plan description for the property located at 1955 East New York Street. And the second one is 25-1042, a resolution approving a final plan on the property located at 1955 East New York Street for food, textiles, and related products use. This is a use mainly providing tortillas to businesses and restaurants. There'll be 54 parking spaces available, enhanced landscaping in the existing building, and they expect to employ 25 people.
Consent.
Are there any questions or discussions on this agenda item?
Consent on both items?
Hearing none, 25-1041 will go on consent agenda. Questions or discussions on 25-1042? No questions on 25-1042 will also be added to the consent agenda.
Okay, thank you. The next one is 26-0273, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agency agreement between the City of Aurora and the State of Illinois Division of Aeronautics for the purpose of receiving aviation fuel tax funds for the reimbursement of capital or operational expenses at the Aurora Municipal Airport. We'll be receiving about $803,000. And we can expect future amounts, but a lesser extent over the period of years to come. Probably around $30,000 a year. Is that estimated, Steve?
Any questions or discussion? Would you like a short presentation?
I had a question.
Yeah, come on up, Steve. Alderman Franco.
Good evening, Steve Andrus with the Airport Division.
So Steve, based on what Alderman Seville said, you said going forward we'll be getting $30,000 per year. So this $803,000, how long have they had our money?
About 4 years, 3 to 4 years.
I was wondering because that's a lot of money.
So, I mean, it's a guess. Even if I could be a little more precise, we don't know because it's totally dependent on how much fuel is sold out at the airport. But we've never collected this before.
Okay.
So this would be the first time. And the resolution actually just authorizes the mayor to basically sign the agency agreement that allows us to receive that money. And then any future requests, like for example, next year, if we have an amount that's worthy of applying for and getting, which it would be, obviously, if even if it was $50, we would do it. But point being is that we wouldn't have to come back to council to get the mayor's authorization for that signature. This resolution covers future requests.
So do we believe this could be like an annual thing, like every year at a certain time we're going to request, because we'll probably have some money in the bank, I'm assuming?
Yeah, since we haven't collected it, it's hard for me to tell.
Right.
I would say more than likely, because I think the 30,000 that Alderman Seville mentioned was a stab by me as what we probably would get.
Okay.
So it would be significant enough to go ahead and apply for that. And just a shout out for April Fitzhugh, who was the city's grant writer. She did all the legwork for the airport in getting this, and man, took the ball and ran with it. So we really appreciate her effort on this.
Okay. That was an extraordinary amount. And it's extraordinary that we went 4 years and not knowing that we had this money coming to us. And I'm still not quite sure on the math, because even if you're guessing at $30,000 a year, at $800,000, we've been missing money for like 20 years. So I'm
That's
trying
a good point.
I'm trying to wrap my head around how this kind of got to that point.
Yeah, well, the program itself, I think we heard about it through the state maybe 3 years ago.
Okay.
But we have to apply for a grant in order to receive it, even though it's not necessarily a grant.
Right.
It's been collected for us. And we just haven't had the know-how, the personnel to go through the hoops, if you want to call it that, to collect that money. And that's again why I mentioned April, because April, I mean, it was all new to us. She just went essentially down to Springfield, not physically, but got a hold of the right people, talked to our finance people, got the two together, and I think we have it pretty much ironed out as to what that process is going to look like in the future. So again, I suspect that as this is collected annually, we'll be able to receive it or, apply to get it back to us annually as well. And to your point about the math, yeah, I don't know where the 30 grand came. I could have been dreaming. I don't know. But it certainly, to your point, seems like it would be a lot more, like close to maybe 60, 80,000.
Okay.
Would be my guess.
Well, that would be wonderful. It's good to have the money. It was just kind of surprising that we hadn't known about this in the past, that they're sitting on our money. Thank God it's there, I guess.
Correct. I mean, it's relatively new. We haven't lost any money.
Sure, okay.
Since we knew about the program. They just keep, putting more and more into that fund.
Okay.
But again, this is just to now get authorization
Sure.
for the mayor to go ahead and sign these agencies agreement every year as we apply for them.
All right, good, thank you, appreciate it.
And then Steve, we also, I got a well, first, any other questions from the council on this agenda item? I got an invite to a ribbon cutting for the flight school. Do you have the details on that? Share with the council.
No, I don't have any, sounds like you have more than I do at this point, so.
I think it is coming up Saturday, so.
Yeah, well, thanks for letting me know.
All right. I guess I'll forward it over to the alderman's office and yours.
Yeah, thank you.
I looked at it and said add it to the calendar, so.
Yeah, good.
Okay, any other questions on 260273?
Consent.
Hearing none, this agenda item will be added to the consent agenda. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Mayor, that will conclude the Building, Zoning, and Economic Development Committee report.
Thank you, Chairman Seville. Next, I'll ask Chairman Masiacos to give the Finance Committee report.
Thank you, Mayor. The Finance Committee met on May 28th, 2026, and reviewed the following items. Item 26-0309, an ordinance amending the annual budget for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2025, and ending December 31st, 2025. Amendment number 8 for the 2025 fiscal year.
Are there any questions or discussions or need for presentation from the council?
Are there any highlights that we should be aware of?
I don't know if
Stacy?
Is she here? All right.
Good afternoon, Stacy Peterson, Chief Financial Officer. This is the eighth and final budget amendment for 2025. Some of the major highlights, there were several grant allocations that needed to be updated, bond issuance. When we budgeted for an overall number for 2025. Obviously, during the time we issued 3 bonds, so you'll see in there that we allocated it to the appropriate funds for each of those bonds. There are program expenditures that we had finalized throughout the year. Some of the operational areas, in particular, public safety, property and casualty insurance fund, employee compensation fund, which experienced higher than expected costs. There were also multiple redevelopment agreements and TIF-related commitments that were adjusted for 2025. If you have any questions in regards to any of the items, like in the past, with this item, the memo references the item numbers that correspond to the exhibit, which is attached. And then I do know that Alderman Bug did ask for some additional information about police sworn overtime. So I sent that to Rich earlier today. You should have all received that. It just breaks down the overtime over 2023 through current, just to give you a better picture of what the sworn overtime costs were for that time span. And then I do know that Alderman Masiacos also asked about the Lindsay windows. Per that RDA, it was a shared sales tax agreement. For that agreement, the Lindsay windows, once completed, they had over a 5-year period to get up to $150,000 back. And so then, if you have any questions, I can answer.
Quick question.
Any other questions or discussion?
I have a
Alderwoman
question.
Smith?
Yes, Stacy, so the employment compensation, you said it's higher than anticipated. Could you expand on that just a little bit? And was that the same in the other 8? As we've talked about this through 2025?
So you're looking at the employee compensations benefits fund.
Is that what, you just said that employees' compensation was higher than anticipated, and that's what I'm asking.
The employee compensation benefits fund, which is Fund
Benefits
603.
fund. Thank you. You said that so quickly, I didn't catch the benefit funds.
Oh, okay.
So thank you. No explanation needed.
Any other questions, discussion from the council? Okay. Is there a motion to put it on consent? Okay, no further questions. 260309 will be added to the consent agenda. The next agenda item, I believe I have a note that Alderman Bug will be recusing himself, which will be putting this on unfinished, but are you going to be recusing yourself for the COW? Okay. Staying here. What's that? It'll be on unfinished.
Unfinished, yeah, right.
Can we read it, Mayor? I mean, just can
Yep,
we read
go
it real
ahead.
quick? All right, okay. Item 26-0343, in order amending the Ward 9 budget for fiscal year 2026. Unfinished. And that would conclude our agenda, Mayor, for the Finance Committee.
Thank you, Chairman Masiacos. Next, I'll ask Chairman Carl Franco to give the PHST Committee report.
Thank you. The Public Health, Safety, and Transportation Committee meeting scheduled for May 28, 26 was canceled, hence there is no report.
Thank you, Chairman Franco. Next, I'll ask Chairwoman Wani Garza to give the IT Committee report.
Yes, Mayor. We met on May 26, and the item is 26-0339, a resolution authorizing the Director of Purchasing to enter into an agreement with TAT Enterprise of Union, Illinois, in the amount of $86,426.25 for the construction of overflow parking lot and the Phillips Park Golf Course.
Are there any questions or discussions on this agenda item? Okay, hearing none, 260339 will be added to the consent agenda.
And was the only item, Mayor, and we conclude the meeting.
Okay, thank you, Chairwoman Garza. Next, I'll ask Chairman Ed Bug to give the RAP Committee report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. 26-0294. This is from our meeting on May 19, 2026. Resolution authorizing the appointment of Krisha Dalal to the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Advisory Board.
Consent.
Consent.
Any questions or discussions on this agenda item? Mayor? Alderman Nunez?
Thank you. I know in other boards there are interviews that were conducted for certain candidates. Was this candidate interviewed by the existing board? Maybe staff could answer.
Mr. Thompson will answer that.
I don't think that, by the way, moving forward will be part of our process at all, but Nick.
Hello, Nicholas Rashard Thompson, Deputy Chief of Staff at the Mayor's Office. I missed the question, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just wondering if Ms. Dalal was interviewed by the existing board.
Correct. By the chair, Ralph Yamamoto, and I believe their secretary.
Thank you.
Okay, if no further questions, 260294 will be added to the consent agenda.
Okay, next Item is 26-0295, resolution authorizing the appointment of Diane Lance, Christopher Childress, Natasha Punty, Juan Cifuentes, and the reappointment of Gina Moga and Jonathan Hilton to the Aurora Civic Center Authority Board.
Unfinished.
Okay, this item will go on unfinished. I'm going to ask Mr. Thompson to give a brief
I'm unfinished
presentation.
and with a request. May I give the request now?
Do you want to see the presentation, or?
Well, when it's unfinished means it's got to come back. Just when it comes back, I'd like to see it come back. Is each of these candidates be brought forward separately, please, instead of a clump?
Okay.
I think
We can discuss that internally about how to do that.
Thank you.
Sounds good. Hello, Nicholas Richard Thompson again. We're going to go to a brief presentation just giving rationale and idea and the process that went into the new ACA appointments and retention. So first and foremost, the board strategic priorities, the focus has been diversifying content and fiscal soundness. And the slate of new appointees is intentionally designed to bridge long-standing gaps between traditional theater and communities it serves. It's not just expanding diversity, but strengthening cultural and financial expertise for better organizational stability. So what does that mean? For us, we wanted to prioritize different artistic expression, so bilingual, faith-based, youth-driven work, and the types of performances and art that is reflective of the demographics here in the community. One, it's to stay relevant with the different trends and emerging contents while also maintaining the traditions, but also two, to expand the audiences for fiscal soundness. Next, that leads us to fiscal soundness. What does that look like, right? A lot of the board members we looked at holistically, comprehensively, finding people with a different set of diverse skill sets, all from philanthropic, nonprofit, different governing agencies, fundraising, and then those who are directly into the arts or patrons or performers themselves. And the idea is to have strong finance background to bring broader networks, new fundraising pipelines, and enhance fiscal credibility, all critical to sustaining financial stability and reducing reliance on taxpayer support. The next, right now, we feel this is a very pivotal moment as Aurora is one of the most diverse cities in Illinois, and we have a renewed commitment to our community-centered arts. We have a unique opportunity to build the most inclusive, culturally representative, and strategically forward-looking board in the organization's history. With that, we're going to talk a bit about some of the board members and some of the existing members maintaining stability and transition. First is Juan Cifuentes. He is a Ward 1 resident, a community-rooted bilingual leader who brings operational expertise and deep relationships in East Aurora's largest demographic community. This is the leadership ACA needs to authentically reach Latino audiences and expand its community impact. A lot of the conversations, a lot of the interviews that were done, this came up numerous times, diversifying content. What does that look like? How do you do that authentically? And this went into that, but also his experience being on a governing board. He is the chair currently for the East Aurora School Board. He has 15 plus experience in records and budget management, again, wanting to really prioritize fiscal solvency and management for the appointees, and then has a lot of work and expertise in talent acquisition and operations. So utilizing his skill sets, his network to bring in more talent, but also the types of folks who will be working for the Paramount in particular. Next, we have Diane Lance, a Ward 10 resident. She is a proven municipal finance expert and CPA with decades of public sector leadership. Her presence strengthens fiscal strategy and deepens ACA's long-term financial competencies. She's a retired executive director of IGFOA and a certified public accountant, a CPA. She has a proven track record in multi-million-dollar asset growth, the former Village of Elk Grove assistant finance director, and an expert in local government finance and strategic planning, and an avid patron of the arts. She, in her interview, just spoke so highly of the Paramount as a frequent patron of it, and is someone who has diverse and really long-standing experience in finance, again, wanting to round that out and ensure that the folks that are coming here have that background and expertise. Next, we have Natasha Punty, Ward 5 resident, a nationally recognized creative director, a veteran, and cultural curator who has elevated Black arts and entertainment across the region. Her appointment amplifies ACA's commitment to representation and artistic excellence. Currently, she is the president of Gospel Morale and Entertainment, a performer herself. She is a U.S. Army veteran from 2007 to 2014. is the Orchid Award recipient for Arts and Entertainment and featured on ABC Channel 7 News for creative direction. Focus, diversifying audiences and underrepresented voices. Her passion for the arts, her passion for the City of Aurora were palpable during the interview. Has a host of ideas on diversifying content, but also bringing new audiences and new collaborations to the Paramount. Next, we have Christopher Childress. He's a non-resident, but in the code, you can, for the Civic Center authorities, it can be in the Fox Valley area. He's a philanthropic business leader with a track record of generating large-scale revenue. He will help ACA pursue bold, alternative revenue streams essential for future stability. During the interview, he was already pitching ideas and has a great mind. He calls himself a numbers guy who thinks outside the box in terms of how do you generate new revenue, how do you make an organization stable, and has been a philanthropic leader in this community for numerous years, is a frequenter of the Paramounts and their arts and their performances, but also someone who has donated in the past and knows how to really fundraise and has the connections necessary to get other large donors as well to support the arts here in Aurora. So yeah, he'll be helping develop alternative revenue streams for ACA, but also helping with the fundraising. They're in the process of hiring a new director of development. So figuring out unique and creative ways to fundraise and generate new revenue streams. Next, the renewals, right? Part of this transition is to ensure stability and support with the existing board members to help guide some of the newer board members, folks who have been on the board for quite some time and have dedicated themselves and shown what they bring. So one is Gina Moga, which I'm sure many of you here will be familiar with. She is a retired special events manager, a lifelong Aurora and East Aurora High School graduate, launched Downtown Alive series in 1998 and oversaw the city's acquisition and management of Blues on the Fox. Oversaw 100 plus festivals, 100 plus parades during a distinguished career, and served on the River Edge Park Committee and Fox Valley Music Foundation. She also has many other organizations that she serves on. It would be too many to list, but someone who's dedicated to Aurora, has a really great mind when it comes to planning events and executing the logistics, and is someone who is going to be able to help the newer board members kind of get acclimated as they begin to serve collectively. Next, Jonathan Hilton, Ward 4, the current chair. Again, wanting to have this transition be smooth, maintaining the chair so that they can support the newer members in this transition. The idea is, you know, with his 25 years of investment advisory experience, he's a former vice president at Old Second National Bank. He provides vital oversight for the asset management and fiscal self-efficiency goals for ACA. Just makes sense to keep him there and to support the newer members who are coming in who have the same goal and to make the organization effective and financially solvent. Finally, this last page is just like a large overview. There had been two existing members that we had appointed already, Dr. Brian Caputo and Philip Van Leer. Yeah, again, this will be the most diverse, community-connected, and strategically skilled ACA board ever. Representations across Latino, Black, veteran, persons with disabilities, nonprofit, local government, finance, philanthropic, legal, and creative sectors all convening and to come together for a shared vision and mission to support ACA. A board that reflects the demographics of Aurora more accurately than any point in its history. A lot of the board members are residents of here, donate here, support the arts, and are engaged in a variety and a myriad of different philanthropic and community-centered activities. This is just the ward makeup. You know, we have someone from Ward 1, Ward 4, 3 from 5, 1 from Ward 10, a non-resident, and then the active member, I forget Dr. Brian Caputo's ward, but I assure you, lives in the city. Hey, there you go. Thank you. Finally, why this matters for ACA's future, right? The broader community trusts the diverse cultural backgrounds and skill sets increase civic confidence and reinforces ACA as a cultural institution for all of Aurora. This has been a constant kind of question, sometimes criticism, but the idea is to work with the feedback we've received and to say, well, how can we acknowledge that? And folks wanted to figure out how do we bring in more diverse content. You find folks who have the skill sets, who have the connections, who have the networks, who have the relationships to do so. So we tried to be intentional about that. Next, new revenue networks. Again, underrepresented communities bring philanthropic, business, faith-based, and art partnerships opportunities for ACA, just diversifying the already large revenue networks that they have, but figuring out how can we continue building upon that. Creative innovation, cultural diversity fuels new programming, right? So bilingual productions, cross-cultural events, programming that attracts expanded audiences, figuring out how to utilize the spaces for ACA for more community-centered events, bringing more audiences, broadening that, getting more eyes on the work that's being done here. And then finally, long-term stability, sustainability. As the city shifts to strategic, long-term fiscal planning for ACA, board members with high levels of financial acumen becomes a core strength in building a self-sustaining model. The idea is long-term fiscal solvency, right? So that's why there are numerous members who have that background. We want to support in that and generating new revenue, acquiring new large donors, and figuring out how to also ensure the content is reflective of the diverse demographics and community that we have. That will only expand the audiences that frequent downtown. Anywhere I go, all the time, people always, when I tell them I'm from Aurora, they bring up the Paramount, right? We want to continue expanding that and also commit to our own community in terms of the different demographics that are here to have culturally relevant programming. Finally, happy to take questions, but just really want to highlight this is a really important moment for ACA's future, and while the work we're doing together truly matters. First, when we talk about strengthening ACA, it's not just about funding, it's about building a board and a governance structure that reflects Aurora today. A more diverse, community-connected board is essential for expanding audiences, increasing trust, and unlocking new revenue networks for ACA. This is how we build long-term sustainability. And second, the city has been and remains a committed partner. Over the last several years, the city invested significantly in ACA, and we from the purchase of the parking garage to support for the Stope Island Theater to major ARPA allocations and federal Save Our Stages funding. These were extraordinary one-time investments designed to stabilize the organization and create a bridge to more self-sustaining model. And now we want to solidify that model and figure out different ways to ensure that the organization has the resources it needs to continually being the gym that it always is and has been. So happy to take questions.
Before I start with any questions, I want to share my thought process with the council as I participated in a lot of these interviews in the second round. We're looking at 4 primary goals. The first thing we wanted to do was provide continuity between seasoned, experienced members of the board and new voices that will better represent the demographics of Aurora. We did that. There'll be 3 people with continuity, long-term experience, as well as Phil Van Leer and Dr. Caputo on there. We've both been on for more than 6 months. The second goal is diversity. With the appointment of 2 African Americans and a second Latino member, we believe that this will be the most diverse board of directors in ACA's history. The third goal is to provide greater financial oversight. I think there are several members that have a strong background in finance. Fourth and finally, we considered the candidate's ability to bring in more corporate fundraising dollars and unique ways to raise money, and some of them answered these questions in their interviews. Now, not all these nominees meet each requirement, but everyone brings something to the table. Working with the experienced board members alongside new board members, we intend to expand Aurora's rich cultural experience while maintaining the success that the Paramount and ACA affiliates have had. So our goal is to continue to build on the excellent performance currently offered at the Paramount, Stope Island, River Edge Park, Copley Theater, and expand our entertainment portfolio to meet the interests of the most diverse city in the state of Illinois by promoting a diverse list of nominees. Finally, we'll be holding a public reception, and we will be opening up the executive session on June 9th. So members can, so the city council can meet with the candidates next June 9th, and I will be holding this agenda item here at COW that will give you an opportunity to meet and interview them in executive session. Any questions or discussion? Alderman Franco.
I got a number of things. So this programming we're talking about, did we do a survey on diverse programming? Because we're the #1 in the country in subscriptions. You just said everybody talks about how great ACA is and the Paramount shows. So this change in direction, I'm wondering what instigated. Where's that survey that shows we don't have enough diverse programming or whatever? And if we do, is it going to make money? Because I went to the Jeff Awards this year, and a number of things they said, but they said, you guys got to start fundraising more. Fundraising is everything for the arts. I mean, it is everything. So we could talk about diversity and different colors, but the color is green. And if these people can't bring in the money, this is bad for ACA. I just want to make that clear that all these things you're looking at is wonderful, but if we're reluctant to give them money, as we were this year, and their fundraising dries up because we don't have people on that board that knows how to fundraise, what do? We're going to have all these diverse programs and nobody's going to be able to afford to come, and we're not going to fundraise. This is a big problem. And I don't think, when you talk about holistic approach, you want to look at the big picture? The big picture is revenue. And we have to generate revenue, or it's going to be on the taxpayers. And if it's on the taxpayers, they're going to complain because we're not generating revenue. I just don't know that we're going in the right direction with all this holistic stuff and the diversity, because at the end of the day, we got a great product. And how do we keep that great product going? So I'm very concerned about that. I'm very concerned when we're just looking at, we have a black person here, and a Hispanic person, and a woman, because we need to raise money. And I've never heard that complaint before, but now I'm hearing it now with the most successful theater, one of the most successful theater in the country. So I'm just not getting it. So I would like to see some explanation on that. I don't see that in this at all. We talked about a person with finance background, but can they make a call to a business and say, we need $25,000? That's what we're going to be looking at. And I don't know that it's here. We're going to look at the people, and we're going to talk to them, but I don't see it here. So that's my comment. That's my feeling on that. I just want to know why this directional change that we're making.
Yeah, I'll take the first bite at that.
For sure.
Alderman Franco, number one, I believe we can walk and chew gum at the same time. In fact, what I said repeatedly and have continued to say is that we're going to continue to build on the success and keep the excellent programs that are going. And then the second thing we're going to do is try and diversify, especially with respect to Rivers Edge Park. You're asking where it's coming from. It's coming from the community.
So
maybe not Ward 5. But I've certainly heard quite a few people, even when I posted about South Pacific on my social media, people were chiming in and saying that, hey, there's nothing here for us. So I've heard it a lot. Now, maybe not Ward 5 is singing that song, but I would say I've definitely heard it and want to respond and represent the community, because what we've been saying is that the taxpayers are going to subsidize a bunch of people who come from out of the city to support them in the Paramount in the past, and people have had their feathers ruffled over that because they don't feel like the entertainment aligns with what they would like to watch.
Well, so let me piggyback on that for a second, because this is a big economic cycle. I know there's people up around that don't understand that, but if you bring people in here that don't spend money, and they go home, they go to the show, where we would like to have more people who come and spend money because of the businesses down there. The Paramount generates $50 million a year into the economy, and a lot of it's through the restaurants. So we have to look at that big picture too. We need people who are willing to spend money before and or after the show. I just want to make sure that we're providing that type of theater to bring them in to make the whole thing work. Now, if we could do diversity with some of the programs and still, create the revenue we need, wonderful. I just don't know. It's an experiment, and I hate to experiment. If the Paramount and Act were just very average, okay, let's make a change. They're really good, and so I'm really concerned when you take something really good, you got no place to go but down. I'm just very concerned about that, because as we have heard, whether it be in the 5th Ward or the East Side, people love the Paramount. And you heard that very clearly during the budget process. And we got to make sure that we stay that direction, that course. And it's always about the money. We don't like to talk about it, but it's about the money. So we got to make sure that with these people coming in, whoever it's going to be, they can go out and get some money for us. Because I would prefer not to use my tax dollars for it. I would prefer them to go get it. We just got to make sure that's available for us.
The benefit to also having people on there with financial acumen that are new and fresh and going to ask new questions is also about adjusting prices and trying to make sure that we're doing our best to hit solvency there. And that just hasn't been done in the past. So I know they're starting to move, and I think that they're also hearing what we're saying with respect to cultural programming. So we're already starting to see some of that. I think with a change in the board, we're going to see more of it.
So can I ask a question to you, Mr. Mayor? Is there any plans to put people on the board that are going to remove Tim Rader from the leadership role? That was a concern in the community. I don't know where that rumor started, but when I hear stuff like that, it really concerns me. So I just want to hear from the horse's mouth. Is that a goal from this administration to put people on that board to remove Tim Rader? That's all I want to hear.
Absolutely not. I think Tim Rader is doing a great job, and we're building a great relationship together. During this interview process, we went back and forth about people we wanted to put on there, and he vetoed, and people I wanted to put on there, and he vetoed. So we've been back and forth and having a discussion about this, and I know that he intends to reach out to them and have those ongoing discussions. But no, I mean,
Right.
I think what you're trying to present here is that we have to go one way or the other. I'm saying we can continue with the successful path that we've been on, that Tim's put us on, and chart a new course that reaches the rest of the community. That's my hope, and I feel that this is the first step to get us there.
Okay.
Any other members?
If I can
of
also echo what the mayor said just quickly, you know, in terms of diversity, we're also talking about skill sets and not just, you know, demographics, but we would never sacrifice, you know, competency or expertise for that diversity. The idea is to have it be reflective of the community, to expand audiences. During the town halls, we had numerous surveys that were open. That's where a lot of this came from. And then I know the mayor has shared on his campaign trail, he's heard that. So that's where the impetus came from, just to answer your question.
So, all right, I'm glad you said it. So can we see some of the results of the surveys? I would love to see
absolutely.
it, because at the end of the
We
day, I'm
released
going to
it.
be very frank. There's some surveys we have not seen, but if we're going to work on data, and data is the way to go when we can, I would love to see some of that data. Because
send it to
that
the-
would put our minds at ease if this is what the people want. Not just a couple people, not just people that you know, the people in general. So that would be great, because if that's what they want, we got to give it to them. So I would love to see that stuff.
Thank you.
100%.
Alderman Bug.
Thank you. As the chairman of the RAP committee, we did a deep dive into this. First of all, this is not the Paramount board. This is the ACA board. There are many facets to ACA, okay? Many things besides the Paramount. The Paramount is just one slice. There's 3 other slices. So we have to take that into account. The facts of this, and we only deal with facts, and Tim would stand here himself and say that the past fundraising of the current board was less than 20%. Boards of local entertainment groups, boards, committees, and towns, the average is 40% of fundraising funds. So, and he came here and spoke to us and said that was an area that needed to be improved, that they needed to improve. And that's what they've been focusing on last year. And when we took a look at some of the new people, that was one of the things we took into account. If they're shooting for whatever number, a number higher than 20%, that's their goal, to have more fundraising come out of the full board. For the full programming, the School of the Arts, the Stope Island, River Edge, Paramount aside. We have to look at it as a whole. So, yes, we know the Paramount has the largest subscription base in the country. It's fantastic. It's a feather in our cap. But we have to, we want the whole committee to be successful. And when Tim came before us, you know, there were pieces of that that were not in the black. They were in the red. And they had fear that some of those would be going away. And we don't want any of that. We want the programming to continue forward. And it's going to take some fundraising, some good people reaching out in a lot of different ways to make that happen. So I just don't want us to look down one rabbit hole. Look at it as a whole, in essence.
Alderman Nunez first, and then Alderwoman Smith.
One question for you, and then one question for Dr. Caputo, or 2 questions for Dr. Caputo. For the new appointees, have they met or interacted with what's left of the existing board at all?
Some of them. The idea behind the meet and greet is to have that happen on the 9th so that they can talk to each other, discuss more in person and not just through digital spaces, and then to also meet community members as well. So a lot of folks came to the town halls to let us know how much they cared about the Paramount in particular, but also just ACA in general.
Yeah, and the reason I ask about the interactions with existing board members or interviews, as I mentioned in the last question, is, you know, these are volunteer boards. These are people that many have given years of public service to serve these boards and serve these communities. So I'm sure I'm not alone up here when I say, you know, out of respect for these volunteers, you know, at a minimum, an interaction with people that they might be working with in the future is all we'd ask. And that's why I asked if there's been any interaction, so.
I
just out of
appreciate
respect for
that.
those
It definitely
people.
could be more. So that's hopefully the meet and greet will suffice and meet that to your question, so that the existing board members can meet the new ones and then also meet community members and the older people in closed session.
And then Dr. Caputo, if I may, thank you. Being the only active member, I think, in the room tonight, I have two questions. One, could you walk us through the process that ACA goes through to book acts, let's say at River Edge Park, for example? And then I have a question to follow up to that.
Well, that's really a matter of operations, and that's something that the CEO does with his staff, and he brings the acts to the menu of acts, for example, River Edge Park, to the board. The board does not actually approve them. He informs the board of how things are going and the financial results, and the expectation there is if something is not going according to what we would hope, we would ask questions and press the CEO to change things or do better in some way. But it's really the CEO's decision on those matters.
So it's not really the board that drives diversified programming then?
We would do is we would say to the CEO, please consider this or please consider that. And in the end, if we were displeased, we would press him, but that would be more of if you were completely unresponsive.
Okay. And then,
that hasn't happened so far.
Okay. And then my second question is more so around.
I'm just going to also suggest that in all my suggestions to Tim and Jim, they've been very open to it and working to meet that. But there's a number of factors that go into talent recruitment, including the talent scheduling, the cost, the availability at River Edge Park. It's a much more complex thing, which is why it's left to staff's hands.
I grew up with a family that owns a popular banquet hall that hosts musical acts from across the country and Mexico, so I'm familiar with that aspect of it when it comes to musical acts. From a financial standpoint, I know not any boards here in Aurora, but other boards, well, none of our city boards really have a minimum per board member that they bring to the table. But as we continue to talk about the financial independence of ACA from the city and the goal of reaching that independence, have we explored the idea of putting a minimum dollar amount that each board member needs to fundraise every year?
Right now, how the board is operated is that there's an expectation of support. What level that is, there's never not been a specified level as to a minimum. The discussions take place between the board chair and the members, and I obviously I've not been in on all those discussions and what people are saying in those discussions. But there's an appeal for board members to do what they can. Certainly do something. I mean, we want all board members to be participating.
But there's no requirement, and some board members give more than others, and some give next to nothing. It's not what they bring to the table, and that'll be true with this board as well.
It's not in the bylaws or anything like that you have to give any kind of.
There is an idea that Tim talked about for creating a foundation board whose primary purpose is fundraising. So you'd have governance and then fundraising.
Appreciate it. Thank you both.
Alderwoman Smith.
Yeah, so 2 questions for you, John, and then just a couple comments. It said 3 people would be reinstated. So we have Gina and Jonathan. Who's the third?
So the third person who we're leaving open, and I will not appoint somebody for a year, is Tim Hoppa. One of my goals was to also get somebody of Southeast Asian descent because we have a large Indian population here in the city of Aurora. We weren't able to this round, and I think it works out nicely to let Mr. Hoppa serve another year, see how that continues to go, and in the same time work behind the scenes to try and recruit somebody that would be representative of that portion of our city.
Okay, and then my other question is, you said...
and it provides continuity.
Yes, thank you. You said somebody said to you there was nothing there for me on South Pacific. What does that mean?
I'll be happy to go find a person. They had said they wanted to come to city council and speak, so to satisfy Alderman Franco's concerns, I'll try and reach out to some people that have expressed deep concerns about the lack of diversity in our programming and ask them to come speak. Another thing that we questioned, or we got a lot of support for from the public, and even if you go on, I posted something about the lights at the walk bridge, and people want to be able to access the park. So we are renegotiating the contract at River Edge, and we're going to have to try and make some days available where it would be open to the public. And again, this is another place where Tim has been listening, and they do have some, I think it's $2 movie nights. We're going to use those Jumbotrons as more of a community sort of event, but we want to make sure that there's some days on the calendar that the city can work with some of our community partners for lower budget events instead of paying the $30,000 fee to fully staff the park and a facility. But the public feels that they've paid, and they have. We just spent $26 million there. They want to be able to use it without just buying a ticket. So that's another element that we'll continue to work on as we renegotiate that contract.
So it wasn't necessarily the actual performance itself. It was
No,
just,
there's a lot of both.
okay. Well, maybe that performance, I mean, every performance isn't for everybody. My gosh, if we go back, Kinky Boots, that's pretty diverse. We had, what was the one about mental health we had just a little bit ago? Oh my goodness, Cinderella was African American. I mean, there's been a lot of diversity in over the years. If one, everyone isn't going to be for every person, but South Pacific is an American, all-American war story. And yeah, that's not for everybody. It's never going to be for everybody. I've gone to shows that I think, it's not for me, but I enjoyed the theater of it, the performance of it. So I completely disagree with you on the diversity of our programs. I'm trying to stay open-minded with everything else. But I also find it very healthy that we're having this conversation because in the high scrutiny of these board appointments, because this is a different being than our other board and our other committees. This is the only board that we have in the city that actually legally is separate from the city. So, it's the only one that has a $30 million budget. It's the only one that has a couple hundred employees. And like Alderman Bud said, multiple facilities. So this is a really important board. So I like that we're having this high-end scrutiny about the people that, we're considering to appoint this. So I do, I am looking forward to meeting these people. I do want next time around for these to come through separately so we can vote on them one at a time. This is that important. I don't think they should be voted on as a group. But that's, I like the fact that we're having this conversation because I think it's good for our city to know that this is this important to us, that we're really looking into these people one at a time. And we also have to remember we are removing Cynthia Latimer when we talk about diversity too. So you can talk about the black person, the white person, the Latino person. She was a woman who had sat on the board for a very long time. Was a very well respected and renowned individual for the city of Aurora, is now being removed from the board. So.
She is, I don't know Ms. Latimer that well, but I can tell you that we're bringing in a professional actor and a professional playwright and performer.
And I'm not saying I disagree with you. I'm just saying when you talk about diversity, you got to talk about the whole thing, not just your part. There's always been diversity there, maybe not as much as what you're putting in today, and I think it's great. I'm looking forward to meeting these people, but this is very important. It's very important to all of us. So I know as we vote through this one at a time, we'll see where we go with it.
Definitely. I will ensure that when this comes through, I'll have a conversation with the mayor's office and figure out both the best way forward administratively for the appointments. I will say I'm glad you brought up Cynthia Latimer, someone who I'm close with. She actually is someone who also mentioned diversity. You can look at the board minutes. She's someone who advocated for a very long time for it personally. So this is important to her as well. She was not on the last batch of people, so I appreciate you raising that. But we do want to get this right, and we hope to alleviate your concerns on June 9th by meeting some of the board members, continuing to ask tough questions and work together to get this done. So thank you.
Thank you. So this is going to be held here.
Does any other, before going back to Alderman Bug, I'll go Alderman Masiacos real quick. and then
Real
I'll go back.
quick question. You mentioned diversity. It was Mrs. Cynthia Latimer. Did any other board member ever champion or talk about additional diversity on the board, of the board members that are not being reappointed?
Not to my knowledge.
Specifically, Mr. Mike Baum?
Not to my knowledge.
No. Mayor? Did he ever bring that up to you?
He has not brought that up to me individually, no. Not that I'm aware of.
All right. Thank you.
Alderman Seville.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to add an historical understanding because of my tenure involved in the city, that there was always a unsaid understanding, if you will, that people that were appointed and came to the Board of ACA would either contribute or raise funds to the tune of around $10,000 a year. Now, yes, it's not in the bylaws or anything like that, but it was just an unsaid understanding, and the reason for the appointments is always because they've had connections in the community that could help raise funds that have been, I think that they admit today, that have been lacking their fundraising abilities, and I know they're talking about doing major fundraising again, and maybe building a foundation board, which is separate, but it's, you know, that was some of the major discussions we had as well with regard to the budget when we adopted the budget and went over the ACA help, but they're still not doing it yet. So I'm hoping that whoever's serving on the board, that they can take those steps, because they're much needed, not only presently, but for the future as well. And I understand in establishing a foundation board, they probably need around 50 to 70 people on the board of directors to raise these types of funds. And so I know they want to do that, but I wish they'd start soon and give us the report as well. It's very important.
Yeah. They're also missing a development director, and at least the meeting I sat through, we're looking at doing a search. They found one temporarily, had one I think last summer sometime, but right before the last gala, I don't know what happened, but they're no longer with the authority. So, I mean, that I think is probably the first step, is getting a development director who can put together an outreach program. I've discussed helping myself with fundraising from the mayor's seat, but corporate counsel has encouraged me not to, as any potential ethics violation. So, you know, if there's people who ask me how they can help the city, I generally do try and point them towards the Civic Center Authority. And, you know, I think it's kind of incumbent upon all of us to do it. I don't know what the unwritten rules were in the past, but I think this board is going to have some people that are good at it. I think Mr. Childress has some very unique ideas about finding new corporate sponsorship. And it'll take him some time to get to a working, cohesive group, but I think that there's going to be a balance of different skill sets that they bring to the table.
I would also add the state through DCEO from, you know, Representative Barbara Hernandez, you know, secured $400,000 for ACA. So the idea is to utilize our lobbyists in the future to continue that. If there are available dollars, discretionary funds, try to lobby for that. I think that's really important as well to mention. And a lot of the board members, again, to echo what John has already said, have the skill sets. And those are part of the questions, right? Not everybody answered that they could give or get. I'm on a lot of boards. The thing is, you get either you got to give money or get it. And sometimes it's not in the bylaws, but it's generally understood. A lot of the folks understand that as well. So.
I think it's $500,000 from multiple elected officials.
Correct.
According to the text message I got. We will be giving the council an update on the legislative cycle. I know that they're working on a recap. Our lobbyists are working on a recap. But I did sign letters of support to our federal and state lawmakers to support the Civic Center Authority and their initiatives to get funds. So another action we've taken.
Okay, so this is going to be held here at COW.
I want to give the council a chance to meet them in executive session. Right. And
excellent. Okay, our next item, 26-0316, resolution authorizing appointment of Jennifer Hopkins, Elenetti Barajas, Gosai Wahed, and Harnik Baku to the Aurora Planning and Zoning Commission. That'll round out that commission.
Unfinished.
Are there any questions or discussions on this agenda item at this level?
I would also like to see these come back individually. These are a lot of new people. It's when you're not bringing, these are not reappointments, so it'd be nice to see these come back individually. It's hard to vote on a whole slate of people when they're all new. So.
That's who I'm appointing. So, Alderman Nunez.
But you can't appoint until we vote.
Can, if someone can, staff could answer this, are these open seats that they're filling, are they replacing individuals that were on the commission? Sorry,
A little
Nick.
bit of both.
Hello, Deputy Chief of Staff Nicholas Richard Thompson. So to the mayor's point, a little bit of both. There were 2 vacancies and then 2 individuals who were on the board and they had expired. We contacted them, had conversations with them about not renewing and going forward with 2 new individuals.
Who were the individuals that expired?
Is that okay to share, or last time I got in trouble sharing stuff? That's okay? No, I did. I just want to make sure.
Yes, I think it's on our website.
Okay,
Yeah,
I just want to be clear. One is Nancy Martinez, the other is Pedro Gonzalez.
And the other piece of this is there's 3, the city's divided into 3 zones, and we have to have certain numbers out of each zone.
Correct.
Is the zone the reason these 2 were not invited to be back, or?
So we had a double up of the zone. That's partially the reason. It's also the mayor wanting to appoint new individuals, get some fresh folks on there, and had conversations with some of the folks.
And also meet diversity requirements there too, diversity goals. Yep.
Diversity in what sense?
Expertise, background, and like skill sets, the work that they do, things of that nature.
Okay. Answered my questions. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Thank you.
And do we have all the resumes uploaded, Nick?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
I think you'll notice a lot of professional experience that'll be brought to this board. Any other questions or discussions on this agenda item?
So you have no problem if we
0316 will
vote on
be
them
put
separately?
on. What's that?
I'm just asking, Nick, you'll have no problem when we move forward to council to vote on them separately?
No, yeah, that's
No, we're not bringing them separately. I'm going to bring it as one agenda item.
As a council member, these are 4 different individuals that are all new. So I am requesting as a council member, and I'll ask for support from my colleagues, that we vote on these separately. These are new people. And
Okay.
I think that, when you bring this many new people forward, they need to be looked at individually for their own good. I mean, for this is not anything against any one person or a process.
260316 will be put on unfinished business. Alderman Bug for continuing.
Do you know what, wait a minute.
Thank you.
I don't appreciate you cutting me off every time I talk. You let the men in here talk all they want, but when the women start talking, you cut them off at the knees. I wasn't finished with what I was saying. This is something we have done for multiple years. When multiple people have been put on boards, it's a very simple thing. You vote on them individually. It is the privy of the mayor to appoint these.
Can you remember the
absolutely
last
is.
time? Can you remember the last time under the previous administration they were separated?
Yes. When there's been more than 2 people, we typically have
Do you remember
separated
which
them
board,
out.
so I can go look it up?
I don't, but I will look it up. But that's not the process.
I'd like it if you would look it up and
Yeah.
send it.
I'm requesting that, and if it's something we need to vote on, that perhaps we need to do that. I'm not really sure what the legal process would be for that. I just think that when we're putting multiple new people on a board, that we should be able to look at each of these people to the right of them individually. They're individual people. We're not hiring a gaggle of people. We're hiring them we're appointing them individually.
I've heard your request.
I want to know legally where my request would lie.
I don't want to mansplain it to you.
No, well, you would if you
Point of
were
order.
allowed.
Point of order. This discussion is going the wrong way. I would like to say that what is the harm of voting on them individually?
'Cause a woman
I see
asked for
harm potentially voting on them as a group. We've seen that before. We actually lost a group here because of that. So I see no harm in doing that. I think that would be the best way to go, because the other way could be harm. There is no harm. So taking each person individually, 0 harm. So I'm not, whether we've done it in the past or not, it's not even germane to that. If there's a request made for this, I would support that. Why wouldn't we do it?
Alderman Franco, then I would guess then what a board member could do is find out what the motion is to make that motion. If they want to, if they feel, to me, what makes the most sense is if you feel somebody should be removed and want to vote on it separately, or if you are related to a member that's being appointed and want to remove that, then I would suggest using the Robert's Rules of Order process and procedure that has been put in place to make that happen.
That's what I was just asking a little bit ago, but this is not the time for voting. That's why I didn't make it in Robert's Rules of Order. You know, I was just trying to skip that point to, instead of doing that next week and then prolonging it, I was just asking Nick if you would have a problem with doing that. So again, I think sitting up here, it depends on who's asking for it to what your response is going to be. So I will ask for it next week through Robert's Rules of Order. It's nothing to do with disliking or knowing anything about these people. It has nothing to do with that. It's just a process when you're putting 4 new people on a board. It's not harmful.
Alderman Bug?
Okay, thank you. I'm going to address that. I believe you're going to be looking a long time for that vote where we split it. We set aside our boards under the last administration and brought whole new boards forward in whole, not individually, in whole, nearly every board. So I'm not sure where this is coming from. Well, I kind of know where it's coming from.
Don't judge me.
I'm speaking.
Don't judge me.
You don't want people to interrupt you? Don't interrupt me. Under the old administration, we did this over and over again. Former RAP chair, Carl Franco, the names come forward as a whole. If you have an issue with one of them or an individual, the motion is made to separate out that individual, look at that person individually, and add them or not add them to the board. That has been the process of the RAP committee since the last administration put the RAP committee in existence 7 years ago. I believe it's 7 years ago. Okay? That's the way it's always worked. Because we're putting more than one new person on a board doesn't mean we automatically create 4, 5, 6 agenda items, one for each person. That has never happened. You'll be looking for a long time looking for it. So, yeah. We are going to continue to take boards as a whole. If you have an issue with an individual, we'll be happy to address that. If you have a question about their credentials, we'll be happy to look at it. But we're not going to, going forward in the RAP committee, and we will not sit in COW and ask the mayor's appointed person to divide them out for each board. So I'll just leave it at that. We'll be here till midnight if we do that every week.
I'll continue my asking the next meeting.
Continuing with the RAP committee agenda, 260316 is unfinished business. 260295 is held. I'll let you continue, Chairman Bug.
Thank you. 26-0322. Resolution extending 2-year agreement for tow firms currently on the City of Aurora tow roster that expire on June 30th, 2026. It's authorized by Chapter 46 of the City of Aurora Code of Ordinances. And tow amendments to Chapter 46 can be reviewed and presented to City Council. So we just have something expiring very soon. We had to go ahead and extend this a little bit longer, but they're going to do a full review of Chapter 46 in the meantime. So consent.
Question or discussion on 260322? Hearing no questions, 260322 will be added to the consent agenda.
26-0330, ordinance amending Chapter 2, Section 440 regarding the membership of the Fox Walk Overlay District Design Review Committee.
Questions or discussions on 260330? Hearing no further questions, 260330 will be added to the consent agenda.
25-0516, oh, I'm sorry. I skipped one. 26-0332, resolution authorizing the reappointment of Michael Zeffran to the Grand Army of the Republic Memorial Commission.
Consent.
Any questions or discussion on 260332? Hearing none, this item will be added to the consent agenda.
And that concludes the committee
Okay.
report. Thank you.
I'll ask the clerk to please read the first item under old business.
250516, an ordinance amending Chapter 2 and Chapter 14 of the Code of Ordinances pertaining to the organization of the departments and divisions of the city.
I'll ask the Chief of Staff to please make the short presentation.
Hello. Can we put that in present mode for me, please, John? Thank you so much. This is a held item from a very long time ago, pre-budget, when we were starting to look at the restructure during the budgetary process. A lot of this was is in the budget, but we felt it important to codify it and make sure that our code is up to date. We also noticed some just out-of-date things that we thought that it was important to make sure they accurately reflected how the city currently runs. So you may know from that we got rid of the Mayor's Office of Community Affairs. Some of those have moved to other places. That is still the case. That has not changed from the last time when I presented it. Development Services Department structure. Sorry about that. The divisions have stayed the same. The only thing that's different is economic development has been taken out of development services and is now its own department with sustainability and business opportunities. And when we get there, I will talk more about that. So building and permits division, zoning and planning, property standards division remain in development services. Community Services Department structure has also shifted. Since the last time I presented, there's just a renaming. From Community Reinvestment is the new name from Community Development. Community Development in many municipalities is often used as what we call our building and permits. So a lot of confusion happens when people call the city and think they're getting our building and permits when they're calling community development. So we wanted to just make sure that that is no longer confusing for folks, and reinvestment was important. So the grant, these are not, and some of those things under that division are things like grant acquisition, grant distribution, so our grant writing, but also the grants that we give out into the community, like quality of life, et cetera, and the Financial Empowerment Center. Community support remains the same. These two divisions, our youth services and senior and disability services, remain the same. What was added, which was taken from the Mayor's Office of Community Affairs, is community engagement. Also, there's more. Animal care and control was put back into community services. Animal care and control used to be part of that. It was put into public facilities. We have brought it back and put it under community services. And then there's just a renaming of this division. It's now the art, culture, and history. To cover not just artistic things, but cultural as well. Under that is the GAR Memorial Museum, of course, and Art and Culture is named Art and Culture, which it was Public Art. The Public Works Department has seen some significant shifts, but first, this is all what we've seen before from Public Works. All of these divisions remain the same, including these, the water production, water and sewer maintenance, and subdivision water meter maintenance. What is new is actually old again, or what is new, yes. We used to have public facilities years ago under Public Works. We've put them back. So that includes Phillips Park Golf Course, Parks and Recreation, and facilities. And all facilities cover several things, which is all under here. So this is the adding just it back. Like I said, it did exist in our code before, we're just putting it back. The law department, the only change in the law department is that we took out the clerk's office and made it its own department. And so it just seemed like they work together, of course, still, but it was, seemed like the most of their functionality was fairly divided, so this was cleaner. And I'll talk about that once we get there too. Community marketing and special events, there is a change in the title. We added the word special events because again, from the former MOCA department, we have special events. The rest remain the same, but we added special events there. This is the city clerk department, as I mentioned. It has the clerk's office and the Freedom of Information. That is not our city clerk. That is our city clerk intern. I'm sure that'd be starting anytime, right? I'm just kidding. Sorry for the stock photo. Jen, I kept trying to surprise her in her office. She wouldn't have it. That does report just to the mayor's office, but obviously works collaboratively. One of the departments that works collaboratively with all departments, really, one of the many. This is the Department of Sustainability Development and Business Opportunity. These have two divisions. Sustainability Development, under Development is Economic Development and Business Opportunity, which also includes like our some of those new initiatives. And then we are creating the Office of the Alderman, which basically has always run like this. We're just codifying it. It is its own department. The Chief of Staff leads the office, which is the staff in there, right? The paid staff, and the office assistants roles, et cetera. And the Chief of Staff reports to the Rules Administration and Procedure Committee Chair. So that's how that structure goes. That ends any changes from the first time it was presented on, and happy to take any questions or answer what I can. Thank you.
So there's old business 250516. Any questions on this agenda item? I know we went through all this during the budget process and approved it through the budget process, but this will codify it in the code. Alderman Masiacos.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. And I appreciate this is before us to codify it because it only is a budget. But I will say that I like the presentation. I don't know if I've seen it like this quite before, so I appreciate the pictures too.
Yep.
Bob O'Connor, be very
except
proud.
that clerk picture, I apologize.
Yeah, except for that. No, we won't get on you like Mr. Nick Thompson's concerned. So. But I do have a question in regards to, can we get this to mimic the style that's in the budget with the tree, the breakdown as well? With the names of each person too?
Yeah.
If it's the same thing, great.
It's,
or if it's
if
any
I could do
changes.
it by department, is that okay? It just is less because otherwise it spreads out forever. So can I do it for each department?
Well, at least who's the department head too. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the key thing too as well, just
Sure.
to make sure we get the names right. But my other question is, what I'm getting to is, some of these titles, any changes in salary grade or steps?
No.
With any of these things?
Nope.
So,
No.
okay, right.
This is all, like I said, it was in the 2026 budget. It just has some, community services has some updated names, that's it.
Yeah, all right. So do you think we get that by next city
Yeah, I will
council
work on
meeting?
that,
That'd
yeah.
be wonderful.
I'll try to send it over to Rich beforehand.
Thank you much.
And then one thing, I apologize, EMA was something that was discussed taking out of fire. It remains under fire. So we did not make that change. So I just wanted to mention that as well.
But that updated chart would give us that information. Right?
Yeah, I can do it for every department.
Yeah, all right, thank you.
Do you want, for
Well,
clarification,
no.
do you want that attached as a PDF to this?
Yes.
Agenda item?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's of each department?
Yeah, I'll just do all the departments of the city.
All right.
No problem.
Alderwoman Bade.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Shannon, you just mentioned about the Office of Alderman, the Chief of Staff, but we had updated in RAP, and it's not reflected in the document. So
In
if you
fact,
could-
I think that was a suggestion, but the chair had said no, historically, that it does report to the chair of RAP.
So first thing I was mentioning about the staff. The Chief of Staff is the head of the Office of Alderman Staff. That word is missing. That was
Correct. So that,
That
if
was
you look.
agreed upon in the RAP.
In the code you're talking about, or in this presentation? I'm sorry.
In the ordinance.
In the ordinance, okay.
And even the
I'll-
document, even the presentation.
I'll work with legal to make sure that's updated. We were hoping to have something updated, but we'll make sure it's updated, and I'll send that out along earlier.
Do you
with
have
that.
do you have a page number and line number?
It's page 15 and line 10.
Yeah, it's not the alderman, it is only of staff, correct?
Yes,
Yes.
so.
We'll
I
make
think
sure that that
was-
is very clear.
That was approved at RAP,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the second thing was point C, which Alderman Bug had mentioned that, what you've just mentioned before.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
I had a question about that one too. This is the last point, line 16 and 17 in the ordinance, page 15. The Chief of Staff reports directly to the Rules, Administrations, and Procedures Committee Chair. Alderman Bug mentioned that it's been there like this forever. Is that how it is supposed to be? Because this is the first time it's legally being worded here. Is that true?
We are making it its own department. And so by doing that, because this was very contentious the last time we brought it up. So in order to make sure that it didn't look like the alderman's office was reporting to the mayor or the mayor's office, we created its own department, and we wanted to be very explicit it wasn't reporting to us. So that's what the change is, and that's why we put it in there.
And my question was, all the aldermen agree that the Chief of Staff reports directly to the RAP chair only? Just wanted to make sure,
Alderwoman Smith?
if anybody wants
When
to.
I was on RAP committee, for the first 4 years of it, it was the chief of staff reported to the committee, not the chair. And that's how it was not written, but it was a committee thing because the chair's not always going to be available. There's 12 of us, one person shouldn't oversee the chief of staff. That's just how it was in the forever ago that we're talking about.
I would say that from an administrative point, that might be challenging for the chief of staff to understand where the direction's coming from and build consensus towards in that. Hence, they have one
If I may,
person. It's like the 1,200 employees reporting to 13 members of the council. Alderman Franco.
so when I was the chair of the RAP committee, we did report to the committee. However, there would be times that it was a minor ask, an easy ask, something that the committee didn't really have to get involved with, where I would make the decision because it was an easy one. Something that was a little bit more intense, a little bit more controversial, the committee should always be involved with that. Because one person, especially a person that's not even elected to the position, just appointed position, should not really make any important decision. It should be the committee. That's why we have a committee. So we took the liberty of, if you wanted something easy, don't worry about the RAP chair can deal with it. If it's a little more complex, we better talk to committee. So I think for codifying reasons, we should put committee in there, but leaving the unwritten rule that the committee would be good with, in this case, Alderman Bug making decisions that are fairly routine, easy decisions. Something a little bit more than we might go the further one. So I think because we're going to put in writing, I think committee would be better than chair, just for these purposes. That's my opinion.
Just so you understand how I have seen it used, because often Rich just reports it to me, just for notification purposes. If there's like a weather emergency or something like that, the chair says, you guys can go ahead and go home early to avoid bad weather. I mean, these are the things that I'm talking about here, like you said, that are minor, that wouldn't involve the whole committee. But that's how I've seen it be used since I've been here. But I don't know if there needs to be a motion or how we go forward with that.
Well, if we need a motion, I would be very much more comfortable in codifying it with the committee, but using that example you did, which I think the committee would agree on, that's a simple, easy one. I'm not going to call 5 people, there's a weather emergency, to allow that to happen for that. So I just feel more comfortable as a committee, but going with normal practices, because that's kind of what we've done anyway.
So I guess all I need to know to modify it is whether or not we have kind of a consensus. So to change it from the Chief of Staff reports directly to the Rules, Administration, and Procedures Committee Chair, or if the council wishes to remove the word chair. We can do that, but if you want a draft before then, I just need to know where everyone's at. I see a lot of nods, but I don't know what that means.
Somebody needs to make a motion, and then I think it needs to be practically thought out by, in conjunction with the chief of staff, as to which items require consensus and which items he can make a decision by simply contacting the RAP chairman to make a
Well, I'll give you
decision.
if I may, I'll give you another example. When we hired Rich, the RAP committee worked on that as a team. We had team members on that. That would not have been something that I wanted to do on my own, say, we're hiring Rich Jacobs, that's just the way it is because I'm the chair of RAP. So you can see there's a difference sometimes with the topic. So, I understand what you're saying. I just think for codifying purposes, we want to make it maybe as neat as we can, and just know there's fluctuations there, that the committee would be okay with the chair of RAP saying, yeah, if they're going to go home early and everybody's okay with that because of weather or something like that, I can understand that. I just don't think that we just want to, in writing, that one person is making potentially an important decision, that's all.
So I heard two people speak on it. We can certainly put it on unfinished, and if somebody wants to work on an amendment to bring forward to the next meeting, that's perfectly fine.
let me know.
I guess I would encourage some discussion with the chief of staff to clearly articulate so there's no confusion and accusations going forward in the future. That would be my recommendation.
So unfinished might be the best way for this, because then we'd have a week to kind of think about it.
We'll put it on
Yeah,
unfinished.
that might be good. Then we could, talk about it and have a better conclusion next week. That would probably be a good idea.
I'll still update that language, though, for staff.
Any other questions or discussions on this agenda item? Alderman Barrero?
Yes, I just wanted to make a comment. A year ago, when this was brought forward, I did have some reservations, mainly because we have a new administration trying to get the lay of the land, and I was hoping that you could take more time to really look at the department divisions and how they work and all that. And one of the ones that I had a concern on was the movement of EMA. I'm pleased that it's staying with the fire department. That was a big deal because it used to be, under the mayor's office, and it went under police, and then under fire department. Then it was going to go back to the mayor's office again. And I think those types of decisions, you need more time to evaluate and assess them. And I'm very happy with the changes that are being proposed. Thank you.
Thank you.
The way we've handled that administratively is to invite EMA to the executive meetings, and if they have items to bring forward for the good of the group, they can. And I guess previously they felt like they weren't necessarily being heard, and I think a strong case was made that this is how the other counties are set up, that it's independent on its own, but it functions fine here. It's been functioning fine over the last 6 months with Theo in there. Any other questions or discussion? 250516 will be put on unfinished business. Under new business, this is information only, but want to make everybody aware of this presentation. I just saw the reason that this is going to be walked on to City Council next week is because the federal tax incentives run out at the end of June. This has been a three-way contract that we've been working on, and I just saw a text message from Patrick sending it over for final review, and I think internally we've ironed out all of the concerns, so it should be ready for City Council. But I want to ask Allison to present this just so everybody's aware of it, and if you have questions, I think we had a draft uploaded, a draft of the contract uploaded. Go ahead, Allison.
Yes. Read it.
Oh, sorry. I'll let the clerk read it.
260134, a resolution accepting the installation of a ground-mounted solar array at Church Road elevated tank at 2680 Church Road in Ward 1, and the execution of a power purchase agreement with 548 Energy.
So it's the lease and the power purchase agreement that we're still working on. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Council. We will amend that to say power purchase agreement and lease eventually. So yes, as the mayor had mentioned, we are bringing this to you today for information only. We did present this to the Finance Committee for information only as well on May 14th. And we're expediting this process because of the federal solar tax credits that are expiring at the end of this month. So as it said, we will be asking for you to approve this power purchase agreement. So I thought this might be helpful to understand what is a power purchase agreement. And it's basically a company will be building a solar project on a city-owned piece of land, and they will own it and operate it. And the city doesn't have to pay any upfront cost. But in exchange, the city then agrees to purchase electricity from these solar panels at a reduced rate over a long-term contract. And by doing that, for this specific project, the electricity produced by the solar will cover 70% of the needs for that site, and this will save the city approximately $452,000 over a 25-year term. The developer will construct the project, and they will handle the maintenance and operations. And it's also important to note that only a developer can participate in these federal tax incentives. A municipality cannot do it. So that's why they have to build it and own it. It also means less maintenance for us, but then we purchase the solar for a cheaper rate than what the current commercial rates are. And as it was mentioned, there will also be a land lease agreement that works in conjunction with the power purchase agreement. We will have both of those uploaded to Legistar very shortly, and it will go through the process. There are draft agreements currently in Legistar, but not the final agreements. So why is this ordinance important? Number one is that it helps the city meet its sustainability goals. And then number two, it's going to save the city money. And some of the benefits is that it will be minimal operational responsibility for us. The developer handles everything. And one other benefit is the workforce development piece. So 30% of the labor from this, at minimum, will come from the CEJA Workforce Development Hub. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Arnie from Progressive Energy Group. We also have Mike from 548 Energy here, and Arnie's going to give a presentation about the power purchase agreement, about the timeline that and how we basically came to choose 548 Energy, and then both of them will be available for questions. And here you go.
Thank you, Allison. I'm Arnie Schrammel with Progressive Energy Group. We've been working with the city for about 7 years on energy procurement, aggregation programs, and then the last 4 years on looking at solar for the city. So an RFQ was originally issued almost 2 years ago to review 17 city-owned sites to determine the feasibility of solar projects. The RFQ got 4 replies from General Energy, Verde, Mars, and 548 Energy, which was selected. At that time, we were going to go forward with 2 city-owned facilities, the new Public Works facility, and the Church Road site. We later on removed the Public Works facility because it's currently getting moved to franchise electricity, which basically means the city doesn't directly pay the electric bill for the Public Works facility. It's paid indirectly by all the residents and businesses through a line item on your ComEd bill called franchise tax. I'm not going to get into the complications between when the city pays directly for ComEd bills and when the city actually gets reimbursed through the franchise tax. But 548 had the lowest both purchase and power purchase options. They had very high performance ratings. They had strong financial capabilities. They had the capital in place to complete this project. They have multiple team members that have been working with in the solar industry for many, many years. And they also had a very high community involvement, philanthropy rating. As many of you know, they've got the 548 Foundation partnered with the city on the CEJA workforce development. Just to look at the site here quick, again, this is the Church Road site. You can see the water tower there, kind of labeled green. Just north of that is actually the pumping station. What you don't see on this picture is just to the northwest of that is also a communications tower. The reason the solar panels weren't built all the way back is when we worked with Bob Liebel and the water superintendent, they needed an area there if they ever need to pull that well out. It's a deep well, big well for the city of Aurora. They need a large crane to be able to sit there to ever pull that well out if it ever needs to be maintained. Yes. Those are little trees. Yeah. And the solar panels are the blue.
The big green thing is a water tower, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we don't have the greatest graphics. So this is kind of a bigger picture, a little bit step back. Again, where the red circle thing is, that's actually where the well is. The area between the well and the water tower has got multiple pipes running back and forth, so you really don't want to put solar in that area. And then right behind that red area is also a communications tower. So we're trying to stay away from all that area. As some of you know, I'm a CPA, so I always have to have a slide with a whole lot of numbers on it. But in summary, the city of Aurora right now purchases electric for that site on the open market, and the city's at a very discounted rate from where the market is right now. The city's paying just under 7 cents per kilowatt hour. ComEd right now is charging 10.4 cents. But I just wanted to put that aside. And then you got all these other charges that most of you see on your electric bill. But all in, that site is paying just over 10 cents a kilowatt hour. The solar contract would be just under 8 cents a kilowatt hour. So the city's saving roughly 2.2 cents a kilowatt hour with a solar field versus what it's paying today. And again, the city's paying way below market today. You guys signed a contract 2 years ago when the market was lower. You'll reset in 2 more years. You'll always be lower in ComEd, but you probably won't be as low as you are today. In addition to that, after year 2, some of the primary load contributions, some of the demand charges get reset. Solar does a very good job of lowering some of the demand charges related to capacity and transmission, and that'll give the city some additional savings on top of that. Couple just stats here. The annual green energy produced is 637,000. It's going to offset 70 to 80% of what that site uses historically for power consumption. It's going to produce a little over 15 million kilowatt hours over 25 years. You got the carbon reduction, coal not burned, some of the environmental things you can look at. Some key contract terms, it's a 25-year term. There's a 3% price escalator per year. 548 will own and operate and maintain the system. So 548 is going to pay to install the system. They're going to pay to operate the system, and they're also going to pay to remove the system at the end of the program. There's also a guarantee that they will each year, solar panels, they start up production. The first year, they generally lose 1.5% production, and then they decline about 0.5% a year. But they have an 85% production guarantee to the city through the whole term of the contract. That number adjusts every year, slightly lower every year, but they have to hit 85% of that target every year. That ensures that they maintain the system, that the city's getting the benefit, the expected production off the system. The city only pays for electricity the system produces. This is often called a pay-as-you-produce. The city has the option to renew the agreement at the end of the 25 years, remove the system at 548's expense, or purchase the system at fair market value at the end of the contract. The Illinois Power Authority is purchasing the first 15 years of the environmental attributes, and 548 will own the environmental attributes for the last 10 years of the solar system. just to repeat some of the things, the end of the contract options, again, the city can purchase a solar system at fair market value, extend it additional 5 years up to 2 renewal periods. And if the city wants it removed because you want to repurpose it for other things, they're 100% responsible for removing the system. Modern solar systems have zero hazardous waste. Solar panels themselves can be sent to landfills as normal waste. Everything else is recycled. Posts on ground mount systems are generally not secured. They're just driven in with a pile driver into the ground, and they're easily removed. Currently, and we have high scrap values here, but we've done several studies, worked with several people. Ground mount solar systems, current cumulative scrap value is at least 200% more than the cost of removal today. Now, it's hard to judge what that's going to be in 25 years. Rooftop solar, not so much. Rooftop solar, you're lucky to break even. But ground mount, primary because the posts are high valuable steel, you get a lot of good scrap value off those. I think Alderman Bug asked us at Finance, I'm sorry about the small font, to kind of give a little bit of history. The City of Aurora has been looking and trying to do solar for a long time now, since all the way back in November 2008. The city had worked with a company called Amoresco to evaluate the airport property and a site off Route 25 and Sullivan Road. That project did not go forward at that time, primarily due to very high ComEd interconnection fees. The city asked Progressive to relook at it back in August of 23. Many of you are on the board. Ultimately, the city council at that time moved forward with Suncode to look at doing multiple fields at the City of Aurora Airport. 2 fields were approved. They actually started construction on them this week. They're going to build 2 5-megawatt fields. Those will roughly produce about 10 million kilowatt hours per field. We expect those to be completed by year end. And there's multiple benefits there. The cash rent that they're going to pay the City of Aurora is $164,000 more per year than what the city's currently getting for renting it as cornfields or soybean fields. There's about an $80,000 increase in property taxes. Again, most of that property taxes are going to go to the Canewood School District. None of it's going directly to the City of Aurora, but it's going to Sugar Grove, Kane County, and most of it's going to the Canewood School District. And then also the city will be able to participate by community solar subscriptions. The City of Aurora can subscribe your current electric accounts to those fields and get an additional 10% savings, even though you're with a supplier. And that we estimate is about $190,000 a year in value to the city. There is a limit. You can only subscribe, any one customer can only subscribe up to 40%. The other 60% will be given priority subscriptions to City of Aurora residents. So residents will be able to subscribe to the City of Aurora solar fields being built out at the Aurora Airport. And that should be another $300,000 of savings to the Aurora residents on their ComEd bills. But, the timeline, I'm not going to go over it in detail, but the city has been reviewing solar. As the mayor said, we're kind of in a crunch timeline. The federal tax credit runs out July 4th. Projects have to start. They don't have to be done, but they have to start by July 4th. That means a contract needs to be in place, and the vendor has to procure at least 5 to 10% of the materials, like cash out the door. So we're not trying to be used car salesmen and rush the city council into a decision, but there's a real deadline there. The field then has to be completely built and commissioned by December of 2027. Again, that's a 30% tax credit, and that makes the economics really work on solar. If you don't get some of the incentives, solar becomes break even at best. And with that, I'm going to open up to questions. We also got Mike here from 548. If you got specific questions about how the field gets built or managing or the materials that they're using, he can answer all those questions.
Questions or discussions on this item for Allison or for Arnie? Alderman Nunez.
Thank you. Question from whomever would like to answer it. So the aerial shot that we're looking at that was in the deck, it looks like a lot of rich.
Do you want to flip back to that slide?
Yeah.
This one or?
I think this.
That one, yeah. So it looks like a lot of rich foliage. So does all that get cut away then, and that ecosystem just ripped out for the solar panels, or the solar panels installed on top of that, and how does that impact that area?
Yeah, that photo isn't a great, that's actually been mowed down.
Okay, it's all mowed down, okay.
Yeah, I know it doesn't quite look like that, but that's mowed down.
Okay. And that's just, then according to the contract, the 548 is the one that's going to maintain that area moving forward?
They will maintain everything inside the solar field, including ground maintenance.
The ground maintenance, okay, thank you.
Alderman Masiacos.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you for the presentation. Just for clarity's sake, you mentioned savings to the residents. Savings to residents in regards to their franchise fee goes down on their bill, or money comes back to the city coffers.
Yeah, I mixed the Aurora Airport with this. The Aurora.
You did. They're different.
They're different. The Aurora Airport is the one where residents can subscribe to the fields. They can subscribe to the Aurora Airport fields. This field, 100% of the usage will go to that site, the City of Aurora.
So this one will save us.
It'll save
Right, but how
only
does the savings
city.
come back? So it just saves us on our
On your
treasury
electric,
from
on what you
electric,
pay currently
what we
with
pay.
ComEd.
All right, so does that get reflected in some kind of decimal value on our franchise tax?
No, this one,
I want to know how to explain it to my residents without having to get it technical.
yeah, I wish, unfortunately, the utility industry is not as straightforward as it should be. So the City of Aurora has two types of facilities for ComEd purposes. This facility, you actually pay real cash out the door to a ComEd bill. Public Works facility, let's say the bill's $10,000 for the month of June. ComEd will send you a bill that says $10,000, and then the last line item on the bill says minus 10,000, ordinance consideration. The amount due to ComEd is zero.
Okay, all right.
Now, it looks like ComEd paid that 10,000 on the ComEd bill. ComEd did not pay that 10,000. That 10,000 was paid by all the residents in the City of Aurora and the businesses through a line item on your ComEd bill. So did the city write a check to the Public Works Department for $10,000 for electric bill month of June? No. But everybody here paid a little bit to pay that $10,000 bill. I don't know if I cleared that up or made it more confusing.
Well, I always get confused when you're talking about the airport, and I don't know why that was brought up, to be honest with you. And you're talking about, Canelan School District and whatnot. And,
This is completely separate from the airport.
Yes, completely separate.
In this deal, because it's a water and sewer fund, we pay for electricity at that site. Any of our enterprise business-like institutions, we actually pay a power bill. This building here, Public Works, any of the others, we don't pay that bill. So you'll see it in the budget as a line item for water and sewer, how much we pay in electricity. And just like the rest of the community, we saw increases in 2025. And
so it'll reduce our budget line item.
let's hope.
Yep.
I mean, that's the concept, right?
Yes.
So, which leads to my next question. Do we have a program in place to quantify how this program rolls out, successes for us over the 25 years? We're going to keep track of that, I hope, right?
Yes.
And-
So as for a program, I'm not sure I understand your question, but there will be both a revenue account and an expense account that is already, being used by the city to pay this utility. We will now be purchasing some of from 548 instead of from ComEd, and then we should see the other piece go down, because we won't be paying as much to ComEd anymore. So we should be able to see the difference.
So it should be quantified through Finance Department?
Yes.
If we ask for questions or during the budget hearing process?
Yes.
And how these savings come through? Okay.
We should be seeing
All right, I
that.
just want to make sure if I'm talking to my community and explaining it, I'm doing it properly, so thank you so much.
Or Alderman, if ComEd raises their rates and we lower ours, we might still be, even, it depends what ComEd does. But either way, this will save us money.
Mhm.
Alderman Brewer?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Lash. I just wanted to make a comment. One, this is in Ward 1, and the location is right off of Church Road, between Belter and Butterfield. And it's in a remote area. If you ever drive by, the water tower's way in the back. It's like a long little road to it. No one's going to see these, so it's a great location. And also, another bonus is that every time we discuss increasing water rates, it's not a happy thing to be talking about. We're very sensitive to water rates, so this is going to help the Water and Sewer Fund by helping to decrease cost with this project. So I'm glad you guys are bringing this forward. Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion from the council? So this will be coming on as new business in the city council meeting, and as soon as we get the agreements, we can email them ahead of time because we upload Fridays. But if they're completed in advance, we'll try and get them to you with a memo to Rich so he can make the alderman aware. So if you have any questions or concerns with the lease, we're trying to wrap it up as soon as possible, and appreciate the consideration for the compressed timeline.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, that concludes old business. We are in need of a closed session pursuant to the following section of the Open Meetings Act, Section 2C1, to discuss the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of a specific employee of the public body, and Section 2C11 to discuss litigation, and Section 2C29 to discuss meetings between internal or external auditors and governmental audit committees, finance committees, and their equivalents. When the discussion involves internal control weaknesses, identification of potential fraud risk areas, known or suspected frauds, and fraud interviews conducted in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards of the United States of America. Do I have a motion to enter into closed session and therefore adjourn this committee of the whole meeting with no further action or public business to take place for the purpose of this meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Seville, second by Alderwoman Garza. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Barrero?
Yes.
Garza?
Yes.
Masiacos?
Yes.
Nunez?
Yes.
Franco?
Yes.
Seville?
Yes.
Benuevos?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Bade?
Yes.
Larson?
Yes.
White? 10 yes, 0 no.
The open session of this meeting now convenes to closed session at 7:39 p.m. on June 2nd, 2026.